Are you ready? You won't be needing those here. Welcome to the Enclave.
Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robby Howell. I am joined, as I am on many fine Mondays, by three fantastic players. You've all seen them before, but not all in this particular group, and we are here to play Enclave. My game, yay! I'm going to have them all introduce themselves in a moment, but before then, just know that DDG is going to be taking a break this coming Sunday. Exciting news. I won't be the one to spoil it if it hasn't been spoiled already. And additionally, if you're interested in learning more about Enclave, make sure you check me out on Discord server, probably linked somewhere, YouTube channel, and also my new Etsy store, where you can buy Enclave without having to pay a big, fat, awful commission to drive through RPG. Now, let's jump over to our players. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, let's say the way you appear on my screen is Garnet, and then let's do Garnet first, and then we'll do Cat, and then we'll round it off. Fire away, please.
Guys, I'm Garnet. I will be playing Claudette. She is a gunslinger, and I will tell you more about her once we start the game. Those of you who know her, you know exactly what you're going to get tonight.
And Cat.
Cheese Cat. I'll be playing Justine YL, who is a wanderer. She's the entertainment type, a dancer professionally, full of shenanigans. Happy to be here.
Perfect. And finally,
I'm James. I'm going to be playing Danyel Wormheart. He's a librarian, a crisp purple suit, and likes to gather knowledge and come real close to dying. Just here to learn.
Indeed. Beautiful. I look forward very much to seeing how these characters intermesh. I have a mission statement ready for you all. Would we like to do a little more character introduction, or would you like to hear your mission statement first? Any preferences? In that case, let's do a little more detail on characters, just in case there are any other elements you want to cover. Garnet, would you like to give us a little bit more about Claudette?
Claudette is, like I said, she is a gunslinger. She is fairly tall, at least, compared to myself. She's 5'9". She wears her duster pretty constantly. Her bandolier is actually a corset with bullets on it. No, she did not learn her lesson from the last mission. She's still wearing it that way. Because it still looks cool. That was a one-off. That was not a pattern. She enjoys her weapons quite a bit, and she joined Enclave because they pay really well, and she likes money.
Beautiful. And let's hear a little more about Justine, if there's any more you wish to share.
Justine, again, is a professional dancer of the belly dance type. She's a beautiful brown-skinned woman with thick, curly black hair, turquoise eyes. Recently reconnected with her ex-fiance of like a week. And it went very well. Tonight, she's showing up not in her usual belly dance garb, but in something a little more elegant. She does tend to like to go from event to work. This is what she considers work. Everything else is just fun.
Lovely. And lastly, and certainly not least, any other details you'd like to share with us about Danyel?
Well, as I said before, Daniel's a librarian, wears the clean purple suit, undershirt with a newly canonized purple side bag. Figured that'd be easier for use at conventions whenever I inevitably cosplay this character. Yeah, he has a penchant for learning new things, learning about new magics. He travels from universe to universe, learning about all sorts of things and compiling them into a giant library. And he also has a penchant for good food and lots of snacks. So,
Marvelous.
yeah.
All right, now that we have our characters established, here is your mission statement. Those who have played Enclave for a little while might be actually familiar with this setting I'm sending you to. You are being sent to a place called the Ebony Convent, a strange, almost almost interdimensional realm that is like a gothic horror-style boarding house / mansion. It is presided over by a woman named the Contessa Trasudanica, who rules over undead. They do her bidding as her servants, her assistants, and many hapless adventurers have ended up there and joined her ranks over time. But she is not unwelcoming. Now, the Contessa has been involved with the Enclave on quite a few occasions, both as allies and as enemies. And recently an Enclave squad was sent to get something from her. Specifically, there was an Enclave mission sent to acquire her diary. This mission ended in an abject failure, unfortunately, leaving 2 agents stranded in the Ebony Convent. Your mission is to get them out. Now, since this mission was a horrific failure and they did not follow post-mission ping-out procedure, they are unable to escape using their badges. And so you have to get them out by the front door. Not only that, but one of the 2 individuals there has a pet dog who is also lost on the mission. She gave the dog, backed up against the wall, she gave the dog the order to play dead, which the dog took very literally and is now cosplaying as a zombie. And as such, she has no idea where her beloved dog is and abjectly refuses to leave the mission without it. And so there are 2 agents and a dog that you guys are going to need to track down. However, while the convent is no longer on high alert necessarily, and it isn't entirely unprecedented for non-undead to come in among, you can expect there to be a good amount of hostility. Definitely, once it's understood that you are trying to evac these Enclave agents, who are still being aggressively looked for. The majority of the Ebony Convent's undead are as undead, not the quickest. However, there are 2 that you need to worry for, or 1 category and 1 individual. The category are a group of the Contessa's handpicked who are called Candlemaids. They are all female, and they always carry like a staff with a candelabra atop it. They have far higher acuity than the other undead, and seem to be maybe even on the verge of living in dead. The other is an individual, the Contessa's right-hand man, an individual named Stellan Lieber, who is her confidant and also her most powerful lieutenant. He has great control over the undead and also the house itself. He's effectively her adjutant or her major domo. And he is leading the search. Stellan wears enchanted armor that makes him all but immune to damage of any kind. Above all else, be incredibly careful with Stellan Lieber. The Enclave literally will tell you they recommend not fighting him at any cost. You can mow down all the other undead you want, but avoid him. I should also note the Ebony Convent is quite large. It's obviously very creepy, but more notably than that, the house itself is heavily enchanted. Secret passageways, moving staircases, doors that lead to rooms that aren't connected, pitfalls, like candles that when you pull it out, it rotates a bookshelf. Every horror movie house trope you can imagine, all and more can be found here. And last thing of note, the undead here are not universally on the Contessa and Lieber's side. The Candlemaids are, and a good number of them are, like porters and waiters and butlers. But there are plenty of, like, lost souls, so to speak. People who have ended up in the convent, become undead, and just kind of given up. And so just because something is undead doesn't necessarily mean it's an enemy. If one is in a uniform and seems to be moving with purpose, you're probably going to have to be worried about it, at least to some degree. Actually, one more note. One of the Enclave agents, the 2 Enclave agents, one of them is a woman named Goose, And she is the one who has the dog. Her dog is named Rusty. Goose is a coward and is almost certainly hiding. The other one is a man named Derbyshire. He is a master of infiltration and is almost certainly hiding amongst the staff. While he probably is trying to look for Goose, Goose and Derbyshire are good friends and have worked on missions together many times. Questions? I know it's a lot.
Can you repeat the Contessa's name?
Sure. The Contessa Trasudanica. You can spell it phonetically if you'd like.
So the Enclave wants us to get the agents out. Do they want the diary anymore?
No.
Or
Screw the diary. Just get the agents out. If you can get the diary out whole, that's awesome, right? That's like going above and beyond the Call of Duty. And of note, your goal is to get them outside of the convent. Once you get them outside of the convent, even if you bash a window and get them out of that, the Enclave should be able to evac them from there. But the convent is a powerfully magical location that has all sorts of its own magical protections, enough so that since the agents missed their ping out protocol, the Enclave isn't able to just yoink them from any place. You know what I mean? Not in this case, at least. Other questions?
What kind of dog is Rusty?
Rusty is a very small Norfolk Terrier.
Okay.
He has red-brown fur and is much braver than Goose and tends to rush into things without thinking them through very well.
So are we sure that Rusty isn't the Enclave agent and Goose is not just the handler?
They're both kind of, right? Rusty is far more than just like a normal dog. Without him, Goose is kind of useless as an Enclave agent.
Oh no. Sweetie, no.
Final questions?
Okay. Don't fight the big scary butler man. You can avoid the candle maids if possible.
The armored dude or no-go. I would assume the Countess is a no-go.
Actually, the Contessa is actually far more likely to be able to be negotiated with than her major domo. He is a much more zealous individual, but she is an incredibly smart and magically powerful individual and will very likely be able to manipulate you in more subtle ways than just bashing your face in. So approach with great caution, but unlikely to just get killed on the spot.
Would the Enclave know what the Countessa considers valuable?
Not necessarily. They've interacted with her a lot before. She is a functionally immortal being with a large entourage of undead and an ancient home of unbelievable magical powers. So it would take a lot to interest her, at a guess. If you have no more questions, I say we proceed to assembly. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Brought together in a normal Enclave HQ meeting room, beautifully plush and decorated only in shades of gray. We will begin with Danyel and Claudette, with Justine showing up a little bit later. Well, take it away, you two. As of now, you're in character, with exceptions, of course, being made to narrate, ask questions, etc.
Fantastic. So I think once again, Daniel will be making a wrong turn in his own library. Take a step through the door, immediately recognize the conference room, and just... God damn it, not this again. Oh, you'd think they'd give a little warning before teleporting me in. Ah, I'm the first one again. Lovely. All right. He's gonna sit down in one of the gray chairs and just kind of impatiently tap his fingers on the table.
We can have Claudette show up within 5 seconds of him sitting down.
Ah, fantastic. I'm not the only one again.
Only one? They've sent you on missions alone?
Well, not alone, but there was the last mission I was on. I sat for a tad bit before before another person showed up.
Well, I'm here. Claudette.
Fantastic. Daniel Wormheart, lovely to meet you.
There was a very strong handshake with just calloused hands from, you know, pistol use.
Mhm. The hands of a gunslinger. It's rare that one finds a well experienced and still living gunslinger in the universe nowadays.
It pays well, and life is good. I try not to die.
Wait, you're getting paid?
You really need to talk to people.
Oh, I suppose I must if I'm not being paid.
Oh dear. Oh no. Why do it if you're not getting paid?
To learn, to see, have new experiences. I mean, the last time I was here, I almost died. That's a new experience. I had a ring that shot to death. But beyond that, I mean, they confiscated the ring after I recovered in their infirmary, which I was a little bit peeved off about because I'd like to have kept that in my archives, but I suppose you can't have everything.
At this moment,
Bet
we will have Justine enter.
best to not have that sort of thing just lying around in someone's boudoir.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Speaking of boudoir, darling Claudette,
And
you
here
must
you are
spill.
again. Well, luckily I was dressed when they pinged me out.
Oh, I love it.
Didn't
And
even have time
who's
to write a letter.
oh, such a shame. But you did get his contact info, yeah?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well,
I know exactly where to find him.
you can always make follow-up plans.
You two know each other.
Yes, darling. Who are you?
Daniel Wormheart, interdimensional explorer and man of learned years.
Huh. Justine YL.
Lovely to meet you.
Interdimensional international superstar.
I I apologize. I've never heard of you.
Well, you don't look like someone who attends dance performances and raucous nights out.
Oh. Now I know I do not seem one who is strays far from a university or a library, but I assure you I've seen my fair share of dances.
I'll take your word.
Uh, the name's Claudette, by the way.
Yes, you said that already.
And Daniel here was telling me that he's getting paid in experience. Right? That
Darling.
that face right there.
Was not made
Darling.
aware we were receiving financial compensation. I just thought we were helping to improve the universe.
She takes your hand. Does that one hand under, one hand over. Oh, sweet, sweet darling. Do you think dancers grace the stages of the worlds without getting paid? You should never do anything
No
of
matter how
great
much you love
substance
it.
without getting paid.
I suppose that those are wise words to live by.
At this
She
moment,
pats your hand.
and an Enclave attendant appears at the door. They gently and wordlessly beckon.
One of these again. Do they ever talk?
No. And I keep
Would you
threatening to
want
put
them
different
to?
faces on them.
They're weird. I
And
wonder if I can keep one.
as the group of you are proceeding towards the door, the Enclave attendant procures a small letter and hands it to Daniel.
Well, thank you. He's gonna tuck it into his suit.
You can see on the front it has Enclave stationery and the subheading of Notice of Extended Back Pay, Agent Action Required.
Oh, agent action. I assume I probably didn't fill out some sort of paperwork. Do it. You know what? Ask. He's gonna pop it open and take a look inside.
Mm-hmm. And you can see that they've been holding payments since your first entry into the organization. It seems as though being interdimensional makes it ever so slightly harder to locate how to figure out where to deposit it into a bank account.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Takes more than one routing number, so to speak.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Well, look at that. Looks like you've been getting paid the whole time.
Apparently so. I guess this is what happens when the beings here don't speak.
And as you trot your way...
Give the attendant like a look.
And as you trot your way through HQ, past the colorful agents and the gray attendants and the soaring architecture, you make your way to the teleportation chamber where gleaming telepads await you as always, and the disembodied voice, now familiar, repeats its same tried and true phrase, "Agents, please take your places atop the telepads."
Love this bit.
And as you take your positions, you feel your bodies dissociate. The tingling sensation beginning in your toes, spreading up your legs, hitting your core, your hands fall to nothing, and your eyes explode into color. But when it all reforms, you are greeted with a deep, musty smell. Not rotting, right? More like an attic that hasn't been cleaned in a couple decades. And looking around, you find yourselves in a small but not tiny coat room. There are a number of ancient, moldering articles hanging around you. It's dark, but not completely pitch black because the doors are not well sealed and cracks of light shine through them, though not bright daylight and not red firelight. Instead, an eerie purple light that bathes everything in cool tones. Outside, you can hear the distant sounds of shuffling, a little bit of groaning, and Claudette, whose ears are cleaner than the rest, can hear even further than that a faint whir in the walls, maybe plumbing or machinery, as well as other sounds of footsteps still further. So right outside of the door, no activity, but a little ways beyond that, definitely some. Immediate actions upon entering. We will begin with Claudette herself.
Claudette is going to take stock of this giant building in front of her and just note the windows, knowing full well that inside is not going to necessarily reflect the outside, but just taking note of windows, really wishing she had some kind of map.
Well, inside of this, pardon me, inside of the coat closet as you are now, you cannot see the overarching architecture of the building, but you can tell from the light that is coming in through the cracks of the coat closet that if there are windows directly outside of it, they are not producing natural light. Even that being said, from the noises that you're getting out of the bit, like beyond the door of the coat closet, you are getting a sense of the scale of this thing and its gigantic magnitude.
I do have one question.
Yeah.
Can we, I would like to have requested the medicated wrap, knowing this particular mission could be potentially a doozy.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Does Claudette have a follow-up?
Can I tell, can she tell how many footsteps and what direction they're coming from?
So you can tell there's nothing out of the door and to the left. That seems to have no activity. But out of the door and to the right, you detect one set of footsteps, and then further beyond, probably in different rooms, another minimum 3 sets of footsteps.
Okay.
And the set of footsteps that's immediately outside of the door and to the right is not close to the door and seems to be receding, like going further away.
Great. She will quietly relay this information to the other two.
Absolutely.
And since there's no activity towards the left, we're going to try to go that way. And we need to try to stick together because it could, I don't want to have to try to find more than, the 2.5 agents that we have to find here.
Are you going to start to pop open the door slowly?
I'm going to wait for them to make sure everybody's ready, and
Totally.
then I will open the door.
Speaking of which, immediate actions from Justine, and then we'll jump to Daniel. What would Justine like to do?
Grab two things out of her pockets.
Mhm.
One is her headlamp, her trusty headlamp.
Yes, this is not the first time that you've used this.
And is anyone surprised? Her magic map. I want the layout. Where's the blueprints?
And as you unfurl the map and click on the headlamp so that this allows everyone to see it, of course, you can see that this coat closet that you are in is right next to the front door. The front door is out and to the left. It opens out onto a large atrium, not quite the size of like a hotel atrium, but bigger in scale than any house or even pretty much any mansion that she would have been to. And from this atrium, 2 staircases going up, 2 going down, 1 door going through to a massive dining room, and doors left and right going into parlors. In summary, huge. This building has 6 floors, including 2 basement levels. Not to mention each floor probably takes up comfortably 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. And that's just what your map is showing.
Nice.
Any other details you're trying to pick out from what you're looking on the map, or are you going to put it away for now?
I just wanted us to be able to see where we were, for one, like
Yeah.
where windows are, what the basic layout of this first floor is, because I'm assuming it's multi-floored.
Yep. In that case, will Claudette and Daniel be leaning in to take a look at the map as well?
Probably
Absolutely.
after rubbing the blindness out of my eyes from a sudden headlamp turning on in a cramped
Indeed.
dark space.
And speaking of which, Daniel, any immediate actions from you, either before or after taking a look at the map?
Since last mission I didn't use fun fact very often. I want to see if I can use it like this. If it's something that if accepted, the new detail is taken to have been true all along. Could zombies in theory have terrible eyesight because their eyes are rotted?
How would Daniel say this aloud? Because of course you do have to announce it to some degree.
Okay, yeah, I got that. He would lean into the map, and then something in his little ADHD brain to be like, oh, I did read somewhere that zombies and various lower tier undead usually have terrible eyesight due to the fact that their bodies are rotted and falling away, and they only need like the base functions to continue serving their masters.
Fun fact activates. That is a success.
Zombies
so yeah.
need glasses.
Oh, they just need entirely new eyes. They like their eyes are like pretty much gone, basically. But yes, he's gonna like peek over her shoulder, look at the map.
Anything specifically that Daniel is looking for? Obviously, it sounds like Justine herself is mostly trying to figure out the layout of the first floor, but is there anything specific Daniel wants to try to pick out while he's looking over her shoulder?
Wraps.
Map is not showing any.
It's not that cool of a map, I don't think.
Oh well. It's useful nonetheless.
Now,
And-
would this map show secret passages?
Now, given that they are secret, it would probably take a lot of extra prodding to make it do so, but I'm not going to say it's impossible.
And if you recall, I have a magic eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
Would that work on the map, or do I have to be in the area using it?
Well, give some context about this magic eyeball for those who don't know.
Yes, the magic eyeball allows me to see things that are magically hidden. And knowing that the Contessa has a bunch of magic here, I would assume some of the secret passageways are magically hidden.
And because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is a perk off of Fork in the Road. Is that true?
No, this was from my by the way. by
Oh,
the
I
wayside.
see. Okay.
Yes, I picked up one of the eyes from the glass light factory.
Yeah, so this is a satchel activation for the by the wayside you used on the eye factory, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for reminding me because I don't remember how you got the damn thing. Yeah.
I'm a hoarder when it comes to prizes.
In that case, not impossible to use it through the map. Almost certainly easier to use it in person because through the map would require a good deal more energy work. Like I'd make you work a lot harder for it.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured.
Mhm.
That it would be a lot more effort trying to use the map.
Totally.
So cool.
Claudette, any actions from you? Any things on the map specifically you're looking for? And if not, do you want to head out the door, albeit slowly, or check in with your team in any other ways?
Not so much on the map, considering it's already, front door, parlors. I do want to get going before people start coming down said hallway. Um, I'm guessing it's not like gonna show me where people are on this map because that
No.
would be too easy. Then after a quick check-in, making sure that everyone's good, she's gonna very slowly open that door and hope that it doesn't need any WD-40.
Naturally, it gives a like a loud scrawk as it opens up, but you do not hear
Just-
any change in the footsteps.
It's just a mild, like her heart beats really fast, and then like just the annoyance you could see in her body language, just like, of course, this bloody door. And then she will gun first. Okay, guns are already out.
Yep.
Lead out the door.
And as she does so, the sight that greets her eyes is eerie, to say the very least. The front doors to your left are huge and beautifully ornate. There's windows in them as well as windows on either side, but outside of the windows you see nothing but inky blackness. In the atrium itself, it's sumptuously decorated, but all the decorations are ancient, covered in dust, cobwebs everywhere. Almost all the colors have faded away. And in every candle bracket along the walls, of which there are many, there is purple fire burning on the candles. Additionally, you are far from alone in the atrium. Not only is there down the hallway the source of the footsteps, you can see that there's like a clearly zombified porter of some kind who is pushing a small trolley with some suitcases on it at a like agonizingly slow pace. The trolley is giving like a faint like squeaking noise as it goes. But also the sides, like the walls of the hallway, are lined with corpses, some moving. Some sit upright and look almost like they're panhandling against the porter as he goes past. And additionally, the hallway, this atrium has many exits. Like I said, 2 staircases at the end going up, 2 staircases at the end going down, 1 big door at the far end, and on left and right hallways leading towards it, no less than 2 other doors. Tons of ways to go.
Okay. We are currently in a coat closet. Are there actual coats in said
Yes,
closet?
there are.
Great. I doubt any of them are going to be as long as my duster, but she is just gonna reach behind her and kind of grab one that feels big and put that on.
And grabbing one, Luxstat.
Normal.
No pluses. In that case, yeah, it's not going to be one that fits you beautifully. And additionally, as you like put it on yourself, a few moths like fly off of the sides of it, and the whole thing like smells profoundly of attic. You know what I mean?
Yep, I know that smell. This is fine. Just a little bit of a costume to attempt to blend in before she walks out the door.
And with this on, what would she like to do?
It's gonna look to the other 2, look back at the coats, and then see if they're gonna follow suit.
Let's jump over to Justine.
Yeah, Justine's picking up what Claudette's putting down, so reach back, scrunch up her face, look down at her beautiful gown that she's wearing,
Deep sigh.
and throw it on.
And given Justine's Luxstat, the coat she picks not only fits beautifully, but though it is in a state of profound disrepair, it is actually quite a sumptuous piece. When this thing was new, it must have looked incredible. And now it, doesn't, but at least it fits. And Danyel, any actions from yourself?
I'm wondering. I don't know how I can spin this. Can I use knowledge's power to conjure a booklet on disguises and then temporarily make it look like that my pre-existing suit matches the deteriorated look of
Ah,
the surroundings in general?
absolutely. What's going to be your paired action for this? Like,
Uh,
how do you conjure the booklet?
he's gonna reach into his book bag, tear it open, ruffle around in there, toss a couple of pieces of junk out, pull out this little like book, like a U.S. Army manual on disguises in foreign countries, and just flip through it,
Yep,
close it, and you see the like a top down like wipe transition as it goes from nice purple suit to
beautiful.
gray and torn and dusty.
And I'm going to take it a step further and say that because this is not just a book on clothing disguises, but in addition to your clothing changing, Daniel's skin changes, and like his eyes droop down, and like eerie cuts open up, and his pallor completely changes, and his hair gets all wispy and cruddy, and he becomes a spitting image of a zombie, albeit with excellent posture.
Nice.
It's incredible.
This is what happens when you get paid with experience. Now,
And
how does that? How do I do a zombie voice? Do I?
I think it
Just
might
don't
think it might be
make a
best to
voice.
just
The book says nothing about
wait
voice.
until
All right, I will be a silent zombie.
would the
It's gonna
group
be
like to proceed out of the coat
hush.
closet now that they're disguised?
Yes, no more 7 minutes in heaven.
And as you step smartly out of the coat closet, you notice that some of the corpses that line the hallways, many of whom are wearing outfits even more outlandish than yours, albeit almost all decrepified and ancient, some of them actually turn to look at you, and a few of the panhandling ones actually reach out their hands towards you, begging.
Hmm. Hmm.
Justine, you're the people person. Does that extend to the undead?
Honestly, darling, this will be my first time. So, I suppose yes.
Do they want money?
I doubt it. What would they need money for?
Oh,
But
what would they stay here for? I don't know. This is this is a new scenario. Hmm.
At the far end
oh,
of the hallway, by the way, the porter goes up to one of the doors at the side of the wall, and you can see his arm, like ever so slowly reaching up to like an ornate rope, crumbly and shitty, of course, that's next to the door, which he grabs and agonizingly slowly pulls, and you hear like a small chime of a bell. Ding, ding, ding. He waits patiently in front of the door, and you hear, all of you, especially Claudette, but all of you, hear kind of a rattling, grinding noise, and then a ding as a small, old-timey elevator opens. And he pushes the trolley incredibly slowly into the elevator. While this is happening, any other actions from the group?
Hmm.
Like, it feels wrong to ignore them because they are doing things, but I don't know how to approach them. Like, do we speak to them? Because the porter very clearly ignored them.
Yeah. Uh, Admittedly, though, the porter also probably doesn't have very well working ears either. So, though I should note that when you saw the porter walking, there was not even a glance to either side. Could be because he was focused on his task. Could be because he considers them a nuisance. Hard to tell.
Mm.
The closest undead that's holding out its hand, I'm gonna like lean in a little closer, and with my contact lenses, gonna blink and use my scanner gear to see if I can glance anything off of him, anything unseen. Uh, if it will reveal anything relevant. I don't know if it
Absolutely.
That's about all I got.
And you, this actually does reveal something. You can see that it reveals two pieces of writing in beautiful purple ink. One on the forehead, in capital letters, in a beautiful cursive script, interloper. And the second, on each wrist, a signature. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What signature?
The signature only shows up for a moment, but in that time with your reading glasses, you can read it. It is undeniably the signature Prasudanika.
Huh. Huh.
What will Daniel say, if anything?
I don't know if this is a good idea or not. It's just gonna like tap, just like touch each wrist and see if he can trigger something. Because instead, maybe they're not reaching up, it's just like showing their wrists. I don't know. He's just gonna signet where the signature was on each
Yep.
wrist.
And as you touch the wrists, you can see that the zombie pulls back as though burned. And you can see that the signatures, even though they faded after the scanner revealed them, show up angry and maroon before returning back to purple and then vanishing again. The zombie tucks their head in, puts their head in their hands, and curls away.
Oh, that makes
Any
it
actions
connection.
from Claudette or Justine witnessing this, but also other things besides?
What did you do to that poor creature?
I tapped its wrist. I looked past the veil of non-perception and saw that it had a signature on its wrist. So I touched it, thinking that instead of reaching to accept something, it was just showing its wrists. And apparently, we can't touch a signature. Apparently, signatures get angry in this universe. Or perhaps they're claimed. That's like a brand.
Any follow-ups or
Interesting.
actions from Claudette or Justine to this?
Well, it's not attacking, so she's not going to shoot it. So, uh, she's going to try to like shake off the heebie-jeebies that she's getting from this whole place,
Absolutely.
and get back into work mode. Does not want to be here. There's too many rooms.
As she's
Um,
shaking off the heebie-jeebies, she hears an awful rattling noise as the door to the lift closes and it starts to ascend.
Hmm.
and did the porter get in the elevator with the trolley? Okay.
Yep. Additionally, Claudette would hear that though there's now you're now in the atrium alone, but for the many undead against the walls, who again don't seem to be doing anything beyond vaguely recognizing your existence and begging. There are two other sets of footsteps that seem to be approaching, though not quick. One is from one of the doors on the left of the atrium, and the other is from the one of the two staircases that lead up, the one on the right in this case. So you have two potential inbound, neither at great speed.
Um, that being the case, she is going to turn to Justine and her map. And what direction do you think we should go in?
Oh, 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 so many
Like
choices.
if you were scared and hiding in a place where enemies were everywhere, where would you hide?
We just came out of where I would hide.
That seems like a good hiding place to be.
Shall we go to the stairs towards down? I mean, up would seem more treacherous, I would think.
Reasonable assumption.
That's where, the owners of the home would be staying, I would presume.
Yes, but down tends to equal dungeons, prison cells.
But also dark corners to hide oneself in. Or
I will also
we can
note,
go
by the way, that
left.
Justine would also remember that Goose was described as a coward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, quick question. How long have they been missing?
This mission happened about an hour ago.
Oh, okay. 'Cause my next thought was, where would you, how long have they been here and when was the, how are they feeding said dog? Like, how is Rusty eating? I'm not even
Indeed.
worried about the people, but how is Rusty eating if they've been here for a while? But if it's only been an hour, then he should be fine still. Because I was like, we need to find a
Certainly.
kitchen.
So, as
Okay.
Justine proposes left, there is a nearer left door and a further left door. Which would she like to start making for, if either?
Near. Why not?
Certainly. Claudette would pick out that the footsteps on the left she heard seemed to be coming from the further door, and as such, Justine is not walking towards face-to-face someone who is approaching you guys. Would Claudette like to follow, or does she have follow-ups?
Um, yes to both. Before Justine heads off, she's just gonna put a hand on her arm and be like, "Look, we've been through quite a few scrapes, and I trust you implicitly. So you tell me where to fire, and I'll fire. But we need to make sure we can get everybody home."
I could not agree more. And as long as you've got my back, I've got yours. Let's give him hell.
Actions from Danyel as well.
He's just gonna like look back and forth between this exchange, and I will also protect your backs to the best of my ability, though my combat utility is not the greatest. I can still provide knowledge. Though I would
Oh.
also suggest, if we are continuing through this home, I suppose, we proceed as if we are undead. The shuffling walks, the blank stares, the whole act.
And as he says this, Justine actually kind of grabs him and shoves him in front
Mhm.
and says,
Oh,
well
okay.
said. You're the best equipped for the job at this moment. We will follow your lead.
Oh, alrighty then. And he's gonna like hunch over. His eyes are gonna glaze a little bit. His jaws are gonna hang just a little looser, and he's just gonna like slowly shuffle forward, hit the door. Is it a pull door or a push door?
It's a push door.
He's gonna pull it first, get frustrated, slap the door handle, and then push it open.
Clearly having fun with the act.
Oh, 100%.
Certainly. Will Claudette and Justine follow?
Yep.
You make your way into a parlor. There is a purple fire burning away completely heatlessly in the hearth. It is a more cozy room, again sumptuously decorated, though absolutely layered in dust and moldering. There are many fewer undead in this room. Again, a couple tucked away in corners and against walls who don't seem to be of terrific consequence at the moment. But there are three other more prominent ones. There is, for one, a well-dressed, relatively speaking, individual who is seated on a moldering wing chair, who is currently playing a chess-like game against another one, also similarly dressed, in another wing chair across from him. Their moves are made painfully slowly. And third of all, on the far side of the room, you can see a impeccably dressed, smaller undead carrying a candelabra staff. Her large veiled hat hides her eyes, and her dress looks like it has been recently cleaned and well maintained, though somewhat threadbare in places.
Shit.
Since Daniel is the first one in the room, he's just gonna kind of like aimlessly bump into walls, but like keep his gaze like passing back and forth, not really letting them out of his sight, but like still acting like a brainless zombie.
Absolutely. His wanderings bring him close to a couple of the hunched ones on the side, a few of whom reach out their hands gently, begging again.
He feels so bad because he can't help them, but like, you gotta stick to the mission.
You notice as you are bumping around that the candlemaid, for that is undeniably what it is, over on the far side of the room, her candelabra, while it has 5 candles, only 2 of them are lit. Again with the purple flame. Now, Claudette and Justine. Danyel has proceeded into the room, confident in his act. What would you two like to do?
Well, Claudette is taking up the rear to make sure they're not caught by surprise, so
Yes.
she will follow whatever Justine does next.
Yep.
Uh,
And Justine?
Justine will shamble into the room to the best of her abilities, thinking in her head, God, if I ever become a zombie, I hope I get to keep my grace.
Indeed.
And
He's not much of a
like,
shambler.
I don't want to shamble for eternity. That would just be hell. Give a quick scan with a special eye to the candle maid to see if she can tell if she's like if the candle maid is tracking Danyel or any kind of like subtle changes in body posture, anything.
Absolutely. This brings the special eye down a use. And as you activate the special eye, its eerie radiance beams across the room and reveals a couple things. First of all, while the candlemaid's eyes are hidden, she is looking, no doubt. You can see that she is not at all paying attention to Danyel. Instead, her attention is entirely focused on Justine and Claudette.
Oh.
Follow-ups as Justine learns this.
Gonna kind of whisper back. We most likely have already been made by the candle maid. I don't believe that the others in this room would be combative, but if she shows aggression, I give you full clearance. Just tell me when to duck.
The candlemaid is standing by the one door that seems to lead out of this room, though there are a couple of big pieces of furniture in here, like wardrobes and the like. And as Justine is saying this, Claudette would see the candlemaid turn on a heel and go to open the door that she is standing by to leave the room.
Wait, is she leaving or is she letting us leave?
She is leaving.
Mm. Do I kill her? Do I kill her?
I'll give you a moment to think. Danyel, actions from you as you've bumped around a little bit and taken stock of what's going on.
Gotcha. Aside from I'm just going to call them the beggars. Aside from the beggars and the candle maiden, is there anyone else in the room?
There's the chess players.
Oh, the chest. I'm gonna use, since I'm not seeing like a limit of uses on my scanner.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna pass by the chess players and like get them in like a group shot and see if I can see anything with the chess players.
And as you look, they do not have anything on their foreheads. However, each of them in a breast pocket has a small piece of paper that your scanner reveals, invisible before then, and you can see the end of the Countess's signature on that piece of paper.
Oh God, I don't have any reflex. I wouldn't be able to like pickpocket them. Shit.
It does
Do
seem
they
that they are focused on the game, and also being undead don't have the best perceptive abilities, but you are correct. It would be a risky move.
Hmm. And does the candle maiden have her back to me?
She is turning and so her back is starting to swing to you.
Okay. I'm gonna wait like a second until she has more back to me, and then I'm gonna look at. Can I see both Justine and Claudette?
Easily.
Gotcha. I'm gonna look at them, point to the two chess players, and just go like pointing in my suit jacket and pointing at the chess players.
Yeah.
And then slowly shuffle after the Candle Maiden, because it
Now.
seems like she's buying my act completely.
Indeed. Claudette, have you made a decision?
Okay. She's leaving, so I'm just wondering, is there any indication that these candle maids have sort of a hive mind? Has she already told
No idea.
her?
Zero inkling.
Oh, Daniel wants to follow her, that I can't shoot her, but also I don't want him walking into a trap where he's just going to walk into a room and
The
get
door is
eaten.
open, and she is beginning to step out. Now or never.
I'm going to wait, but I am going to follow him because I need his brain, which means I need him to not be in pieces.
Now, Justine, actions from you. You saw, I'm sure Claudette's tension was visible on her face, but she begins to proceed across the room following the Candlemaid and Daniel. Does Justine have any actions, especially after seeing Daniel kind of pointing, like pantomiming, pointing at his own pocket and then pointing at the chess players?
How fast is the Candle Maiden gonna be moving?
She moves at a normal person's speed, not the shuffling you've seen of any of the other
Okay.
undead.
Okay. So Justine is going to gracefully shamble over to the chess players to see if she can figure out what Danyel was trying to say.
Certainly.
She's like, "What about your tit?"
And as you shamble over, you can see that one of the chess players like turns his rotting face towards you. His jaw is partially missing, his eyes are hazy, his hair is combed but stringy. And as he kind of looks at you, and his eyes, they don't even focus. There's a strange purple glow behind the lenses, but sound slurs from his throat. Beauty.
Oh, darling, thank you ever so much.
You see a sloppy smile.
Who's winning? Chess was never my game.
He looks to his opponent and extends a shaky hand. And the other one gives a bow. Fair match. And the other one gives a graceful, if slow, nod.
Well, it has been enthralling watching the two of you.
They seem gratified.
And do I see anything on them that might have sparked Danielle's curiosity?
You do see that there's not much tit as you described it, but they do each have nice, if old, suits on, both of which do have breast pockets, though to your eyes they look empty.
Well, she's going to give a nice little peck pat to the one that called her beautiful, even though he only got part of the word out.
Indeed. And he looks to you and says with something resembling a debonair smile, "See you at dinner," and gives a little graceful like nod of his head.
I look forward to it, darling. Oh, before I take my leave, Have you seen a scruffy little dog?
Dog. Yes, dog. One shaky hand missing a finger lifts up and points through the door that, by this point, Claudette and Danyel have gone well through. 2 rooms straight. Right. Dining room.
Hmm.
He gives a bow.
Thank you both. I'll see you at dinner.
Yes. A sloppy smile as they return to their game.
And as I hit the door jamb,
Mhm.
I would like to use Fork in the Road.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to figure out if following the Candle Maiden is going to lead us into a trap. I have a feeling that it is.
Is that your guess?
That is my guess. I
Lovely.
really feel like this is a bad idea.
I am going to cut to the other two before I give you your vision.
Punk rock.
Be right back. Now, Danyel, you've shambled through after the candlemaid. Claudette is stealing along not terribly far behind you. And you can see
No,
that
but I would like to either grab a book or a cigar box or something and put it between the door and the door frame so that it does not shut behind us,
Absolutely.
locking.
Yep, excellent idea. And this would bring you on into, conveniently enough for looking for a book, a small private library. Bookshelves tower to the ceiling, a chandelier hangs in the center, large beautiful windows with only inky blackness coming through them. There seem to be maybe 4 suited zombies in here, all of whom are reading. And also you notice that some of the more finely dressed zombies, you now see 2 women among them as well as 2 men. There are more beggars, as Danyel called them, in the corner, and the candlemaid is walking smartly through the room among them. You notice that once in a while she'll kind of turn to like stop and whisper something to one of the or like not whisper but like speak very quietly to one of the formally dressed ones. But these interactions are very short and do not allow you guys to catch up too much. This room has 2 exits, right and straight, and she seems to be proceeding across to the straight exit. Actions you guys would like to take as you are following her. Is Danyel just going to be shambling straight after her, or does he have other actions? And Claudette too.
Oh, see, because Daniel would see the library and immediately get so distracted.
Good. Very good. We need to wait for Justine, so be distracted.
I'm kind of wanting to use catalog to see if there's anything of use in the. You said there's just books piled to the ceiling.
They are neatly organized on bookshelves, but they also are strung with cobwebs, coated in dust, and look like only the ones that are in easy zombie height are ever regularly accessed.
Fantastic. He is gonna like shuffle to the center of the room. I suppose wait for the. I almost said shield maiden. That's not right. The candle maiden to move on, and then
Yep, she leaves through the far door and closes it behind her.
and then drop the act and immediately like sit down cross-legged and cast catalog.
Yep.
And just be like, this room is disgusting. I need to get it clean and organized. And he's gonna just slam both hands on the what is like a wood floor, a stone floor.
Stone floor, but with large, beautiful carpets on it.
Fantastic. He'll slam his hands on the stone floor, probably kick up some dust from a carpet, and just a pulse is going to ripple from him and begin to and like a tornado around the room, cleaning and dusting and and organizing the books into a proper, probably Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah. and so this is a big boy catalog. This is a real powerhouse of a catalog, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Certainly. And Claudette, as Danyel goes over, you hear him muttering to himself. He sits in the middle of the floor, slams his hand, there's a plume of dust, and then there's a great rushing through the room as books start to fly from shelves and onto other shelves, and dust begins to get cleaned and purged off, and you can see a bunch of the undead are like, not quickly, but like looking around themselves. A few of them have books that they were reading whisked out from under them and back onto shelves nearby. Uh, and also of note as well, the handful of, again, as Daniel described them, beggars who are in the room are whisked out of the room as if by high winds with the doors shut behind them.
I might have done it. Oops.
Now,
Oops.
the suited guests, none of them are disturbed, although they are mostly looking around in some awe at the now sparkling room. It's still in disrepair. It is still, not in great shape. The colors are faded, but it is clean, sparklingly clean, in fact. And it even smells better, a good deal better. Now, actions from Claudette during and after this. The whole process would take at least 10, if not 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, during, she's just going to be kind of ducking and diving books. Not trying to get whacked in the head with, an Encyclopedia Britannica. But then I guess while this is all happening, she's still trying to keep an eye on the undead that the Candle Maiden spoke to see if they are acting differently now that we are in the room.
And you do not see any difference in behavior, at least not during this 10-15 second period. As the dust is starting to settle, so to speak, it's clean, so there isn't any more dust. You can see that one or two of them have gotten to their feet, and you can see one beautifully attired in a now clean evening gown, takes her finger and runs it along the table and then lifts it to examine if there's any dust on it, and gives a approving sort of nod with her jaw hanging off, noting that there isn't any. Follow us from Claudette before we check in back in with Danyel.
How big is this room?
The library is bigger than the parlor that you were just in. At the very least, it's substantially taller. The floor space is about equivalent. So, like, think of it like a very large family living room size, like especially large family living room.
Okay, she's gonna want to put, she doesn't like having her back to people, so she's gonna find a space where there are the beggar zombies got whisked away, which is hilarious and sad, but she's going to try to find somewhere where there are no, or at least very few zombies at her back.
Easily done. You have bookshelves all around, so you can definitely get yourself situated against something.
That she's going to wait while magic happens. That is not her forte, but she respects it.
Daniel, with your catalog finished, actions, especially knowledge that you're trying to glean from your catalog.
Yes. What do I glean first off?
Well, let's begin with topics. Like, give me a sense of what you are looking for, and then I can give you some options.
Well, first off, diary?
No, not in here. Good guess.
Necromancy.
They have multiple volumes. Dozens, in fact. It's one of the larger categories of this library. Necromancy across cultures, necromantic practice from beginner to grandmaster level. If you're looking for a place to learn necromancy, this is a great one.
Fantastic. Could I reasonably learn or gain enough knowledge to perform some sort of necromancy overwrite spell?
Oof, very tough. You would be able to get a good sense of the information that a lot of these books provide, and you'd be able to learn where those books are, so if you want to take one and try to learn further, you might be able to get to, but just off of your catalog knowledge, you would not be able to get enough to do that.
Fantastic. Then I will locate a book that would allow me to either overwrite or disrupt the connection between necromancer and their target corpse, and use my reading glasses or my reading contacts to just speed read through that book and
start
gain
to
its
power
knowledge.
through it.
Yeah.
Now, a
no
couple
dust is
things of
kicked.
note that you are starting to pick up. Now, specifically, because your catalog gives you a good amount of information about a book, even if it doesn't give you the full text of any variety, you are able to locate the book most appropriate for what you are looking for, namely a book that talks about countering necromancy, of which he does have one in here. Something that you notice while you're reading through. there is not a single mention of signatures. And that seems to be one of the big focal points of her spellcraft. In fact, as you are reading through, none of the basic tenets of necromancy that this book is talking about seem to be here. You don't see ritual sites. You don't see any sort of duration. You don't see any sort of like particular enthrallment. The zombies here all seem to be acting of their own volition, even if some of them are very simple. It's a very unconventional necromancy, at least by this book's standards.
I probably don't have time to locate another topic.
Well, before we go too much further with that, while you're considering, Claudette, you've seen Danyel go to a seemingly random bookshelf, grab a seemingly random book, plot himself down at a nearby desk, and begin to blaze through it at substantial speed. And as he is doing so, you do hear footsteps approaching at reasonable speed from the door to the right, not the door straight ahead.
Daniel, darling, whatever it is you're doing, you need to do it faster because we have to go.
Danyel would not hear you. He is engrossed in reading, and you notice he does not hear you.
No. She doesn't want to interrupt, but also doesn't know how many of these zombies will turn hostile if she has to start firing. So she will come over and just tap him on the shoulder.
This is at the point where we got to when I was describing the book. So you've picked up a good amount of information, even in all of 20 seconds of reading.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yes, what?
Either go faster or take it with us. We have to go.
Okay, and he's taking the book and he's shoving it into his book bag.
Yep.
And then immediately resuming the full act of hunched over, glazed eyes.
Indeed. Before we go further over here, I do want to hear more from Claudette, but let's check in with Justine. You have a date with a vision right now.
Ooh.
In your vision, you feel yourself at like a third person over the shoulder angle to a black pawn in a game of chess. The pawn moves forward a tile and you move forward with it. And ahead, you can see a white bishop. You see that the pawn moves another tile towards the white bishop. And then as it goes to move another tile towards a white bishop, out of turn, I should note, a white knight swoops in and smashes the black pawn to dust. That's where your vision ends.
I am following that candle maiden. Nope. That did not sound like a good idea. That sounded like the big guy that's got the enchanted armor. That's what that sounded like.
So what would Justine like to do? Danyel and Claudette at this point are long gone.
Well, I'm gonna sneak down the hallway.
Yep. Are you going to be following the way they went?
Yes.
Yep.
But keeping an eye out for, it sounded like my helpful guy said to go down past 2 rooms and then go to the right.
Yep.
To find the dog.
And in this case, the door has been chalked open by a book. And so Justine would be able to peek her head in just in time to see Claudette hurrying over to Danyel, who is reading, and she would see the exchange that was just described. Claudette kind of like tapping Danyel and getting him to his feet as he stuffs the book in his book bag. This is across the room from you. What would you like to do?
Kind of rush over and reconvene and darlings, one of the
Good,
dapper
I was
chess.
just coming. Sorry, I was just coming to grab you. We have to go. We have to leave this room now.
Yes, I would probably concur. However, the nice chess-playing gentleman told me where to find the dog at least. I didn't feel that I would be safe asking if there are other live people here and where there might be, but a dog seemed okay to ask for. 2 rooms and then to the right is what I was told.
Brilliant.
So through
Let's
the
go.
next room and then to the dining room is what he said.
It sounds like Claudette is practically dragging people through to the next room.
Yes, no one is moving fast enough. She does not know why she's uncomfortable, but those footsteps coming from the right, it just make her like she does not want to be here when they get inside this library.
Indeed. And fortunately, Justine indicated that the way to the dog is the way that it would be away from the footsteps. And so hurrying through the door that you earlier saw, the candle made pass through, it's currently closed. Anything you guys would like to do as you're leaving the library towards this door?
Prop the door open.
Sure. Grab a book, prop the door.
I think we're just gonna make this a habit for this place. All doors stay open.
Daniel's gonna pull the previous disguise book out of his bag and just hand it over
To whom?
to whoever's trying to block the door.
What?
The
No,
door
we're
open.
just gonna grab one off a shelf and shove it into the door.
Uh-huh.
You keep that.
Back into the bag.
And making your way out, you find yourself not in another full room, but in a hallway. It's kind of like a T-shaped hallway. So there's, again, an exit that is straight ahead and an exit that is to the right. The exit to the right goes down like rather a long section of hallway. The exit straight goes down a rather a short section. There are windows to the left as well. Good amount of beggars in this section as well. And you do not hear any footsteps nor see any standing zombies in this particular region. Although I will say once again, beautiful decoration and a number of large portraits too. Any actions in this hallway?
I'm going to note that when Claudette propped the door open for this one, she tried to make it it's not like putting the whole book in like she did with the other one. She sort of opened it and put just part of the book in the doorway so it didn't look open.
Sure, I understand.
And then as she's standing, she's going to turn around and take in the space that they are now in.
This T-shaped hallway is definitely the most confined area you've been in this far. Lower ceiling, narrower walls, and the like I said, good number of beggar zombies in here, making it so that you have a like not a narrow aisle. You can still walk two abreast, but like not nearly as much space left and right as previous.
Mm.
Actions as you enter here.
Following Justine and trying to not disturb the undead. Any more than we already have just by being here.
Quite.
Right.
And in that case, I'm guessing Justine following the directions would be going straight ahead.
Yes.
Danyel, actions.
How many of the beggars can I catch in like one scanner flash?
As you're assuming you're keeping pace with Claudette and Justine, who are going reasonably fast, you'd maybe be able to catch 3 or 4.
Gotcha, that's good enough. I'm just looking for those same signatures as I pass by, just like a quick camera
Yep.
click and... Okay. All right.
And with a click, you can see that all of them that you can catch in this flash have signatures on their wrists and words on their foreheads. Though the words are not always interloper. You catch 2 interlopers, but one of them is a double crosser, and another one of them is a thief.
Daniel's figured it out. Yep. Yeah.
Anything you'd like to say to the other 2 as they are hurrying across the hall to the far entrance?
As he's like trying to stay in the act, but also like fast shamble.
Yep.
Ladies, I believe I figured out why these people have signatures on their wrists and words on their forehead. I believe they are those who have crossed the headmistress of this house, and so she keeps them here as punishment. Some of them said interloper, one said double crosser, and another said thief. So I assume those that do this head matron wrong are confined here and made to suffer for, I would presume, eternity, because that seems to be a common theme with the undead. It's eternity and suffering.
How very scarlet letter.
Yes, indeed. And they're probably
On the one
begging
hand,
because
while I
they...
understand, but it's a lot. There's a lot of them.
Yes. This seems to be a timeless place. So I would assume many people have tried to either free relatives or perhaps take things. Oh, take things. is the one? Are we still by the one that says thief?
Yes.
Does that one look familiar?
And as you look, no. Though your brain cannot get the idea out of itself that something of that nature may not be far in the future.
I believe it is quite possible that the agents we're looking for are one of these, I guess, misfortunate, we'll call them, instead of beggars. But I believe they're begging for freedom instead of, like, money or souls or whatever undead normally want. I think they just want to be free. But that's going to take a lot of magic. And he's like kind of dazing off to the distance, and ideas are just clicking and whirring through his head.
Yep.
And Claudette will allow that so long as he keeps walking.
Now,
Yes, he's
far door has been
shuffling very
reached.
quickly.
And coming out of this T-shaped hallway, you find yourself in a large stairwell room. There's a beautiful Gothic spiral staircase with suits of armor and like window wells leading its way up. There's a couple of windows in this room as well. And then in addition to the staircase leads up, there's once again a door that is straight ahead and across and a door that is to the right. Additionally in this room, there is a good number of, as Danyel has just retitled them, misfortunate. And also, you can hear coming down the stairs a set of slow, shambling feet. It is not yet in sight.
And the exit to the right is up the stairs or on the level that we are?
Level that you are.
Well, if I recall correctly, I believe we should be going right now.
I'll follow your lead.
And ushered around the corner, the door that is at the right entrance is quite grand. It's a set of double doors rather than the primarily singleton doors that you've passed through thus far. The hall leading to it is also a good deal larger, though not very long, and it also has another elevator lift on the left side. As you approach these doors, are you going to be heading in, or any particular way you wish to proceed? I should note, Claudette can hear multiple sets of footsteps in the room beyond, but they are echoey, indicating that this room is probably very large.
Is there like a keyhole or anything
Yeah,
that I
large
can
keyhole.
look through before we open the door and just go in?
Yeah.
Just to get even the briefest of glances.
Sure, 2 large keyholes you can definitely look through.
And what do I see?
Are you going to shoo the others back?
Just a tick, yeah.
Yeah. And as Claudette kneels down to look through, she can see inside a palatial dining room with a huge table in the center and a massive chandelier. Her keyhole doesn't reveal a ton, but she does see multiple moving figures inside of the room. And unfortunately, there's not an awful lot to hide behind in there. Though she does see there's some pillars on the right.
She hates to do it. She hates to do it, but she's gonna send Daniel in first. The Candle Maiden ignored him because his disguise was just that good. So she's gonna send him in first. And she's gonna apologize, but you have to go. It has to be you first.
He nods solemnly and says, I accept my fate. And I don't know how many more times I can use knowledge as power.
It is currently on cooldown.
It's still on cooldown. Crap. Okay.
Your duration for the magical disguise effect is not super long for this world, by the way. So just know it's not going to last like a ton longer, but it's not going to vanish within seconds or anything.
Gotcha. Would Fun Fact be ready to use?
Fun fact is up.
Fantastic. Can I use it to give myself a mundane object?
Ooh, that's a good question. Fun fact does not allow you to establish that a thing was somewhere necessarily. It's more about like more conceptual things, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's like impossible that someone could energy work it that way, but that is not like the intention of the ability. So it would take a lot more effort.
Fit in was already known about the subject. Additionally, must be the sort of detail the one must learn from a written record. Okay. Written record. I'm gonna use fun fact and say, fun fact, dogs can hear much higher whistle pitches than other beings. I just so happen to know that whistle pitch. And he's going to step through the door and use fun fact to essentially learn how to dog whistle.
You
If
know,
that's
it's kind of in the range of knowledge is power, but in this instance, it's a sick idea, so I'll let you get away with it.
okay, fantastic. Yeah, he's gonna step through, and immediately like assume his act and like the like hunched back and the glassy eyes and let out like a. I'm not gonna whistle because that's gonna probably blow out some speakers, but he's gonna let out a couple quick whistles to try and get a dog's attention.
Absolutely. Now, as Daniel says this chipperly and then proceeds through the doors, like the swing open double doors in his shambly manner, actions from Claudette and Justine. Daniel opening the doors could mean that you would be seen from someone inside. So, how do you want to position yourselves, and what else do you want to do?
I mean,
Do the
first, just kind of as an aside, as he's opening the door, Claudette's just gonna lean over to Justine and be like, they can't fight for shit, but having a librarian with us is amazing.
I to agree. They do come in handy. And the doors,
and then
do
she's
they
just gonna.
open out or in?
The doors open out.
Okay, so yeah, I will be stepping with the door, staying behind the door, but giving myself a little bit of a visual, like a little peek around the corner.
Oh, pardon me. As in, like, they open out into the room beyond, so you would not be able to touch
Oh, okay,
anyone.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be like a chameleon stuck on the door. Why not? I'm gonna move with it. Maybe they're too dumb to see me.
And as
I mean, that's kind
Justine
of what I was going for as well. It's like moving with the door.
And as you all enter in,
Gonna-
with Daniel taking front and center by far, the room is very large. Think of it. This is the most hotel-like part of this entire building thus far. So you can think of it kind of like a small hotel's dining room, but with a high ceiling, and only one massive table in the center. The table is covered in like closed dishes and beautiful silverware. A few like well-dressed zombies are already seated around the table. Two candle maids go around the table checking in with them. The entirety of the perimeter of the room is littered with misfortunate. And additionally, there is like a catwalk balcony that circumnavigates the entire upper section of the room that also has more undead on it as well. Very, very heavily populated area. Um, However, as Daniel enters and gives that faint whistle, which to someone else's ears would just sound kind of like airy and breathy, you hear a skittering of claws on the stone as a tiny dog goes sprinting out from under a table.
Yay.
Now, as the dog comes sprinting out from under a table, a candle maid nearby turns around with her like large hat kind of swaying with the movement of her head. She moves much more quickly than other undead once again, and she snaps her fingers, and the dog goes skidding to a halt.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
She looks over.
perfect.
She looks over in Daniel's direction and begins to start walking towards him, clicking her candelabra staff on the ground as she does so. The dog obediently goes into step behind her. Uh, Actions from
Yeah.
Justine and Claudette first, because she is coming in your direction, and even if the others are probably too dumb to see you, she probably is not.
Oh, guys, I fucked up.
I'm gonna hold. I think this is Goose. I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna see.
And
Because
Justine,
I think
actions?
I think this is Goose. Because who else would Rusty listen to?
Um, yeah, hand on scimitar, ready for action. Just getting myself tapped into that well of bravery that I actually have, even though I seem
Yeah.
like I'm never in combat.
The metal of the staff
Very
clicks on the ground.
slowly unbutton the buttons, but Claudette is very confident that this is Goose.
The candlemaid comes right up to Danyel and lifts the brim of her hat slightly, and you see a pair of terrified eyes staring out at you.
I haven't seen their eyes under the veil, though.
That's true, but you do notice that her skin is definitely not the sickly pale of the candlemaids that you've seen before. Instead, she has kind of a tanned, beachy complexion.
Does she smell undead? Because I assume they all give off an atrocious
Like,
smell.
I'm gonna get in and get a little whiff.
I mean, I assume she's getting like close to my face. I was gonna like charge up a use of the scanner to like flash in her face if I needed to. But I assume she's close enough, and I just
Yeah, she smells of weed and French fries.
I don't know what I was
Oh,
expecting,
wait.
but it wasn't that. So I think Daniel will have the same reaction I do whenever I smell that. It's immediate throat irritation, and he just what? He just
And you
Hello?
hear her faintly whisper, "Like, I thought we were super dead."
he is uh, uh, surprised at the voice and like pauses for a second and says, "Oh, are you Goose?"
And she goes, and gives like a little quick, her hat flops up and down as she nods.
Fantastic. I need you to where and he's gonna turn around and look at Claudette and be like, are there still others approaching? Oh, wait, would he know that there were footsteps approaching the other room?
Oh yeah, I mean yes, that's why I was
Okay.
rushing everyone, because there were footsteps.
Are there still footsteps approaching in that other room?
The hall
Are
that
they?
you guys just exited from with the staircase, you hear the footsteps have gotten to the bottom of the staircase and are coming towards you guys in the dining room. So behind Danyel.
Yes, we need to
Hmm.
go. Quick question: how
Yep.
many of Goose's candles are lit?
Goose has no candles lit.
I mean, it makes sense if it's just a
Interesting.
disguise.
Mm-hmm.
And now that
Okay,
you're
but you said
looking
there
at
were other
her,
candle.
I should note, now that you're looking at her more properly, the candlemaid outfit does not fit at all. She's lanky as shit and definitely is not built for this outfit. And also you can see that, for example, the buckles on the shoes aren't done correctly. The leggings are kind of snapped a little bit from where she pulled them up too quickly, and they're made of old shitty lace, and so they immediately fell apart. Like, it's a decent disguise, but it does not hold up under scrutiny.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then were there other candle maids in the room?
There's one other candlemaid in the room who is currently on the other side of the table. She is not looking in your direction right now, and she has 4 candles lit.
Oh, they're an
Oh.
indication. 1
Uh-huh.
through 5, probably.
Yep. Okay, but oh God, where's the other guy? Either way, we have to leave this room.
Justine, any actions from you during this interaction?
Rusty.
Oh, pardon, are you calling to him?
Yeah. Rusty. Come here. I'll pet you.
And he goes like trotting over, scampering over, and you can see that as he gets closer, you can see he has some like very shittily done zombie makeup on him, which is not working whatsoever. But he like as he gets up to you, he gives you a big lick all over your hands. He
Hey.
is only about the size of like, how to describe him? He's only the size of a microwave, right? But he and has kind of stubby little legs. But he is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely overflowing with energy and looks thrilled to get some affection.
Yep. And then I'm gonna lean down and ask the dog. Yes, I'm talking to the dog instead of the human.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit, where'd his name go?
Oh, the other agent?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say, Rusty, Rusty, where's Darby? Where's Derbyshire? You got Derbyshire. We go find Derbyshire, go home, get a bath. That's what I want. Yeah, where's Darby? Derbyshire.
And then you hear Goose say, like, careful, Rust, we're supposed to be undercover. But after a moment, you guys, not only does Claudette hear it now, but now it's close enough that both Danyel and Justine can hear the footsteps that are approaching from behind you guys towards the now open doors. It's a shambling set of
Nope, that's
footsteps.
too close. Too close. We gotta go.
Where else are we going to go? It's a cafeteria full of undead in front of us, and then a small group behind us. I say we hide behind the disguised Goose.
And then
her disguise is good enough.
Goose
I would
hisses,
say.
like, shush. And then she gives a, and you hear, excuse me.
What?
And Goose gives like a little wiggle with the candelabra and gives kind of like her best attempt at like an imperious swish to like get Danyel to step out of the way.
He's gonna shuffle in the opposite direction.
And then the two zombies that are approaching, you can see it's a man and a woman locking arms. Both arms are almost falling off. As they are approaching, Goose steps to the side, much too quickly, clutching the staff to her chest. And as they pass by, she says, like, enjoy your meal. And you can see that the female zombie says, thank you. As they pass by her towards the dining room table. You can see Goose shaking so much that her candelabra is clattering slightly against the ground.
I'm gonna walk up to her and grab it and just look her in her eyes and be like, you need to calm down before we end up on that table. Do you understand me?
She says, I really wanna, but it's hard.
Goose, darling. Claudette, Daniel. I think we need to get Goose out of here first.
Yeah.
Goose, does Rusty
we-
have any tracking skills?
She says, like, let's talk about this outside the dining room, maybe?
Yeah, let's go. Now. Come.
There are windows in the room with the stairs. We can just toss her out.
As you start to step outside, she says, I don't like the sound of that.
Would you rather be
We're on
tossed
the
out a
ground
window,
level.
She
would you rather be
closes
tossed
the
out a
doors
window
behind her.
or undead food?
She says, now, to, like, answer your question, Rust is a fantastic tracker. He's the best damn tracker you ever seen in your life. She says, but he's not going to do nothing without me.
Oh.
Rusty has
seem
gone
to
from
us-
licking Justine to prancing over to Goose and is doing figure eights between her legs as she walks. Goose is very tall, by the way. She's like 6'2", and is a long drink of water. So she towers above you guys.
Wait a fucking minute. Is this a Scooby?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it
You're
is.
just now
Mhm.
picking up on it.
You're right.
So, it took me a second because I was like, that's a very specific speech pattern.
And
Where did
weed and French fries.
Look, I've never smelled a cartoon, so
I can smell the Scooby Gang.
Immediately.
So we have Shaggy. Who are we going after next?
Fred.
Yeah. With all due respect, Goose, your Rusty seemed to respond well when I called to him. It was only when you stopped him that he stopped.
She says, well, gee, it's not a matter of whether he'll respond to you or not. It's a matter of how well he can do his job, you know?
Can you be brave enough then to find Derbyshire and we will exit the nearest window so you both can get out of here after your spectacular failure?
She says, like, first of all, uncalled for, and second of all, I thought
Hey.
Darby was trying to find me.
That's what headquarters called it.
It was the official mission review. You were a spectacular failure.
Sorry.
Like, I don't think I'm getting paid for this one.
Probably not. We're here to
Look.
rescue you. You're not getting
Look.
paid.
Be glad you're making it out of this alive.
Oh. You can take the worm heart payment. It's experience.
Exactly. Yes, it's a good teacher. It's a teaching moment.
You see that she slumps against the wall and she says, God, I hate this job.
And go home.
It shows. So, shall we then? And I don't know that Derbyshire would be looking for you, dear. You've
And-
got a reputation.
She gives you a look and she says, I really hope it's a decent one.
Well, it's not scandalous.
You know something? She perks up a little bit. Now,
Right.
during this time, as Rusty has been turning figure eights between her legs, she's come to a halt, and he's now put his nose to the ground and is sniffing ferociously. Dust keeps getting in his nose, causing him to stop, sneeze, and then go back to sniffing.
Okay, so before we exit this hall or whatever, would my waypoints work in
I
this
mean-
magical place?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean...
Okay, great.
If they didn't, you'd have to experiment with it, but it would take pretty weird magic for your waypoints not to work.
Okay, great. I want to leave a message, like maybe behind one of the unfortunates, like above and behind one of the unfortunates' heads.
Mhm.
So it's if you're trained to see something out of the ordinary, you would see it. But if you're
Yeah.
not looking for something out of the ordinary, you wouldn't necessarily notice it. Like
I
how
get what
someone
you're
can
going
hide a
for.
tchotchke in your house and you don't notice for like 6 months.
Speaking from experience, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Me and my sister like to play fun pranks.
Yeah. What's it going to say?
Stealing art and tchotchkes. It's going to say Goose obtained meat front.
Awesome. The waypoint is set. Actions from Claudette and Danyel while Justine is doing so. Goose, having perked up ever so slightly, has now stooped down from her gangly height to check in with Rusty, sniffing away at the floor.
Are the footsteps still coming towards us?
Now, the footsteps that had been approaching down the staircase were the couple that had passed you into the dining room. And so at this moment, you don't have any footsteps approaching you, not to your ears at least, within this this stairwell room.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a break from what I thought was us being chased.
Indeed. And Danyel, any actions from you?
Can I retroactively have some sort of greasy food in one of my pockets?
I'm going to say that's too much.
Gotcha. Okay.
Justine could probably satchel that, though.
Then I will go ahead and I'm gonna look at you said there were windows in this stairwell.
Yeah, there are.
Do they open?
They look like they should. There's only
Okay.
inky blackness beyond. What do you want to do?
Gotcha. I'm gonna go ahead and check and see if the windows are locked and if there's like different size ones. Find one that's like could fit skinny over there, and maybe try to get the window open.
Absolutely. Now, the window has one of those simple, like, turn locks that you get the top and then you can push it up, sort of thing. And Goose could easily fit out of these. Some of these are quite big. And so as you go and check and turn the lock, you suddenly feel a burn on your finger, like a faint one. And you can see a faint purple glow on your finger, and before your eyes, the window turns to stone, as do the others in the room.
Son of a
You can see that. Oh, by the way, downstairs, Claudette, Goose, at the sound of the noise, leaps into your arms, quaking like a leaf.
Oh, I drop her.
She hits the floor.
Ow!
What
Ow!
on earth?
And she says, like, this place is trapped, man. You can't get out.
Would Daniel have heard the thud of Goose hitting the floor?
Yes.
He's gonna sprint over and be like, "What happened? Is everyone all right?"
Goose is rubbing
This
her
one
butt.
here, this one here apparently is incredibly agile for her size.
She says, like, that sounds offensive for my size.
You're very tall, dear.
She clambers back to her feet, and she says, but, like, this is the Enclave, gal.
What did you do, Goose?
Fell. Don't worry about it.
Claudette.
Little Miss Scaredy Cat here jumped into my arms and I didn't appreciate it.
Goose, you don't jump into a woman's arms without asking permission first.
Goose yelps and jumps into Daniel's arms, pointing over towards one of the walls nearby.
He's gonna, like, not drop her, but, like, aggressively toss her forward a bit and see where she was pointing.
You can see she's pointing towards one of the portraits on the wall, or one of the paintings on the wall, which you can see depicts an eerie, like, road through a leafless wood. And coming down the path in this painting, you can see a dark shape walking in the painting towards.
Nope.
Nope. Time to go.
Are there any wrought iron structures nearby?
Wrought iron structures, yes, candelabras.
Fantastic. I want to grab one and just try to stab the painting.
And as you wrench the candelabra off the brackets holding on the wall and, like, slam it in, immediate actions from Claudette and Justine before we know how that goes.
I am gonna draw my weapons. I don't know what's about to happen, but somebody might get shot.
Indeed. And Justine, any actions from you?
Justine is a little bit flabbergasted. The windows disappeared. Now Danielle is dabbing paintings.
Ice makes you crazy.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, while Danielle is stabbing the painting, she's gonna whip out her map and see if it changed.
And you can see that, yes, your map's layout has changed. Where you are doesn't connect to the rooms that you thought it would, or the rooms that you came in by. You are now on the basement.
Ah.
What?
Additionally, your map shows that all rooms, all doors that are on this level are locked.
Mm.
Now,
Cool, cool.
Daniel slams the candelabra into the painting, you can see that parts of the wrought iron actually pierce the fabric a little bit. And you can see that the figure moving along it stops. It moves slightly, and then from the painting, a gauntleted hand emerges and grabs the wrought iron that is impaling the painting. The gauntlet is pitch black, and it rips the candelabra from the painting.
I should have stabbed it better.
Immediate actions.
No. I understand you said all the doors were locked.
Well, Justine's seen that.
But
You
what
have
are
not seen that yet. And there is still the stair.
No, not yet. Is it going up or down?
Up.
There's not really a lot of hesitation from Claudette. That's bad. We have to go. She is just going to bolt towards the stairs, and pray that everybody else is behind her.
Goose is a step ahead of you. She has screamed, "I'm at the top of her voice and sprints at massive speed up the staircase, like easily outpacing any of you, with Rusty
He's so
zooming
mighty.
behind her. Before we go further with
fast
that,
for its short little legs.
as Claudette is starting to go up, immediate actions from Justine and Daniel.
Oh shit.
How big- Go ahead.
No, you go ahead for it.
Okay. How big is this painting?
The painting is at least 4 feet tall, quite large.
Can I try to like push it up and off the wall and like let it fall forward so that like
Oh, that's
whatever's trying
such
to
a
get out?
clever idea. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it to you. It's a heavy
Like-
one, but and then it starts to
Yeah.
tip forward and over your head and onto the ground face down.
Yeah, like the solution in any Ring movie. Just tip the TV over. She can't get out. Just painting face down, and then I'm booking it towards Claudette.
Yep, and Justine?
Will follow.
Now,
Going up the
Goose has
stairs.
left you guys in a literal cloud of dust, but as you follow after her, you can hear at the top of the stairs a sudden loud series of barking from Rusty, and Goose give another, like, completely incomprehensible screech. And as you are coming into view, you can hear Rusty giving like a and you can see that he is hanging off of the arm of a zombified porter who is kind of like very soporifically trying to shake him off while Goose is cowering in a corner.
Is this the same porter from before?
Yes.
Damn, poor guy.
Claudette is heading the group actions as she is coming into view. It's a spiral staircase, so she sees what's happening just before she arrives.
Rusty, damn, let him go.
And Rusty gets off and snarls at the zombie from on the ground in front of him. The zombie, seemingly kind of intimidated, takes a step or two back. The landing that you guys have arrived on, by the way, has 3 doors, but is a much smaller landing than down below. So you have straight, left, and right. Goose is cowering by the leftmost door. As Claudette says this, other actions from her as she hits the landing before the other 2.
Okay, so I didn't see, but I heard the painting fall. So I'm gonna,
Yeah.
after I get Rusty off the zombie, I'm gonna turn. What on earth did y'all do?
Daniel, who's bringing up.
It was coming from the painting, so I made it so that they couldn't come out of the painting. You're just gonna tap, probably claw at the floor for a few hundred years. Look, the painting's it's face down. It's coming from the face. The face is now blocked.
Does Claudette want to look?
That would require me to go back down, correct?
Too far, like, because it's a spiral staircase, so you could like stick your head down and see through the banister.
Yeah, I'll take a peek.
And you can see that the painting, face down on the ground, is being pushed up as hands emerge from underneath it, forcing it up as someone is trying to get out.
See, I told you it would work.
Yeah, only kind of.
What do you mean only
You,
kind
you
of?
bought us a little bit. You bought us some time,
Oh.
and I appreciate it. But we have to go.
Okay.
Okay. Aside from
Alright.
that, do I hear anything else? Like the door that Goose is cowering by. Is there anything coming from that door?
Now, with Rusty growling, it's actually a good deal harder for you to hear subtle things like footsteps, especially with all the running and the yelling and everything going on.
Yeah,
and so you'd
I
have
knew
to
she
get-
was gonna mess with my senses.
You'd have to get your ear up to the door.
Okay, so Porter looks intimidated by the dog.
Indeed.
And of course, Claudette doesn't own pets, so she has no treats for this dog. Goose is in a crazy costume, so I doubt she has any treats left to calm him down. So yeah, she's just gonna get as close to the door as she can.
Left door, the one that Goose is next to.
Yeah, the one that she's by. And she's gonna put her hand over Claudette's mouth to stop her from whimpering.
Over
So she
Goose's
can
mouth?
listen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. As Claudette is doing so, actions from Justine and then Daniel.
So Justine is, Justine's just going to keep an eye out for right now.
Mhm.
Watch the painting. I was following up the stairs, but until I know, or until Justine knows, that, well, if the doors upstairs are all locked, she's gonna hold off on using the magic eye and see if
Absolutely.
there's a secret way out. But that's next steps.
While Justine is watching, she can see the painting finally get its push-up finished as it gets tilted up enough for the figure to get out before it clatters back to the ground. You hear the figure that emerges actually is grumbling and muttering, "Curses and trials and tribulations of all the obnoxious." And the figure that emerges is a massive one, easily cresting Goose's height, clad head to toe in black armor. No visible weapon, but a purple cape flowing behind, and the armor is of impeccably beautiful design.
I'm so sad that I got this idea too late. I was going to apologize and then trick shot the porter onto the painting to make it harder for him to get out.
Now, Daniel, actions from you after checking in and going, "Oh, I see the painting is still happening." What do you want to do?
How are my cooldowns looking?
Knowledge's power is up. Fun fact is not yet up. Catalog is up.
Fantastic. Can I use Knowledge's power? Okay, Claudette has her guns out. Can I use Knowledge's power to enchant them?
You can use Knowledge's power to enchant her in a way that is conducive to the gun.
Okay, fantastic. I was thinking he will conjure the holiest of holy books that he can, and just like tap her on the shoulder, probably get her to like light up or something, and some sort of holy damage against undead. That's
Sure.
usually it's a pretty safe bet.
Would you like to pass the book to her? Because Knowledge's power's buff is conveyed to the one who reads it.
Fantastic. He is going to pull out. He's going to pull out just generic golden religion book and be like, "Here, read this really fast."
Now, Claudette, with your ear up against the door, the left door, you hear a good amount of movement behind that one. Like at least 3, if not 4 sets of footsteps, at least one of which is not shambling.
Shambling. Okay.
But you have a golden gleaming book being offered to you.
Like the size of like one of those pocket New Testament books that you see in like Applebee's.
Okay. So she's gonna make a mental note that that's probably not a good door, and then what do I do with it?
Read it
Yeah,
really fast.
Okay, and she's just gonna kind of breeze through the book as quickly as possible. She's obviously not as fast a reader.
As she opens the book, it's not like she's reading the book. It's like the book is being read into her. It's like the knowledge is slurped into her like a vacuum cleaner. Enormous speed. It's her eyes don't even process it. And all at once, she absorbs an enormous amount of knowledge, not just on like it's not just generic holy stuff in general, right? It is specifically on killing undead.
Oh, she's just gonna kind of like there's like a weird shiver like the one she got when she read the scroll, and it's just like, oh, I don't think I'm ever gonna get used to this. All right. That being said, she's gonna kind of look down at this being that they told her not to fight. He's like, all right, Mother Mary and Joseph. She's just gonna, oh, look, if this doesn't work, we're all gonna die. So get ready to run.
Of note, by the way, both Daniel and Justine, while Claudette is prepping herself, would notice that Goose is doing something. She noted Claudette listening to the door, and she too is now listening to the other doors. She settles on the right door from the top of the stairwell, and then you can see that out of her pocket, she produces what looks like a small like lollipop stick or something, maybe a toothpick, not really sure. And she pokes it through the keyhole, takes a step backwards, and says, "Like, all right, Rusty, fetch." Rusty barrels for the door and smashes a hole through it. Grabs the toothpick and brings it back to her, wagging his tail.
Holy shit.
Good boy, Rusty.
Dog.
And Goose takes the toothpick, gives him a kiss on the mouth, and then dives full dolphin dive through the hole he made. And Rusty goes galloping after her.
And they couldn't get out without us.
Dog's head must be reinforced with steel. What the hell?
Staircase made out of.
The staircase is made of stone.
Damn.
I think I knew where you were going with that.
Mhm.
Any other
Yep.
actions? I should note down below you hear a steady clank, clank, clank as Stellan Lieber begins to climb the stairs. He doesn't run. He moves at a steady, relentless walk. And the clanking of his
Not the
boots
Michael
echoes in your
Myers.
mind echoes in your brain like a metronome.
Do not appreciate
As
being chased by a horror movie villain. Just want to note that.
would Justine know anything about like their perception abilities? Like how perceptive?
Well, Daniel did fun fact earlier that less sophisticated undead have
Yeah.
terrible eyesight. And you've seen that they also have terrible hearing, given how blindly they've stumbled past you on multiple occasions.
This is not less sophisticated.
Quite.
I mean, we were told to avoid him, so I am going to assume that he would still have like vision and hearing and things of that nature. No, his armor's enchanted.
Is his face
Very brief baby hello.
Is a baby!
Hey.
I heard his sweet cooing. It was so nice.
All right, well, fuck it. I'm gonna do it anyways. Yeah, Justine's gonna reach into her pocket, and she's got a couple of smoke bombs.
Mhm.
And they're color smoke bombs
Of course.
because that's fun. We'll say yellow and purple.
Yeah.
So she's gonna light them and let them roll down the stair. Well, she's gonna kind of soft lob,
Yeah.
so they go further down the stairs before they start rolling towards him.
Smoke starts to fizz out. And
Maybe.
after doing so, does she have immediate follow-ups?
Yeah, she's gonna start kicking at that damn door
I also have a
Yeah.
baby real quick.
that
mean-
they busted through and be like, "Fucking unlock it,
the
you
second
stupid
baby
little hoe!"
cameo.
It's another baby. It's little Rose. Give us
Hi,
squishers.
Hi, more babies.
Grab.
No, not the microphone.
Yep. And there goes the mic. That is not proper microphone discipline, young lady.
She'll get there. Now, in terms of kicking out the door, there is enough of a hole in it that you could slide through, but it would require going all the way down into a crawl.
All right.
Doing so?
Yep, I'm gonna do it because if the lock's on the other side, I gotta unlock the door.
Absolutely.
Shaggy's a coward. I mean, Goose.
And as you are crawling through, you hear the click of the lock, and the door opens with you in it, sliding you slightly to the side.
I love it.
Sliding you slightly to the side and giving you a nice upskirt of Goose in her undersized candle-maid outfit. And underneath, you can see that she's still wearing her normal cargo pants.
I like your pockets, darling.
And you hear, like, thanks, there's 12!
You can never have enough pockets.
She offers you a hand to get back to your feet.
I gladly take it. Giggle to myself.
Actions from Danyel and Claudette. Justine has rolled smoke bombs and is skedaddling over to the door. Actions from... Actually, let's do Daniel first, because I think Claudette might have some consequential ones.
Since I used my knowledge's power again, does that mean my disguise is gone?
Yes, it is.
Fantastic. He's gonna look on. Well, it wasn't going to last much longer anyway, so might as well look good while we probably die. Okay, so he's gone through the door. Yeah, he's gonna go through the door with where Goose and the rest have gone. Can't use fun fact. Catalog doesn't really make sense.
Start with the
Uh,
fundamentals. Are you going to be following them through the now busted and opened door, or are you staying with Claudette?
hmm. If I stay with Claudette, would I be within range of using my scanner?
Ooh, he'd have to get much closer.
I don't
Probably
plan on
within
staying long enough
danger
for him to
range.
get that close.
Hmm. Then yeah, I'm gonna book it with Goose.
Yep. Book it with Goose, the new show.
Book it with Goose.
And
I
Claudette,
would.
as your teammates abscond, what would you like to do?
Okay, can I tell how long this boost is going to last?
You don't have a strong conscious sense of it.
Didn't think so. That being said, not wanting to waste the gift that I was given, how far away from me is he,
So if the staircase on a
even
clock
with the
face,
smoke?
yeah, if this staircase on a clock face goes from like 7 o'clock to like 4 o'clock, if that makes sense, then he is up to 11.
So I can see his face.
Yes, well, you can see his helmet.
Helmet. Are there eye slits?
There are.
Okay. And you said the walls are made of stone?
Yeah.
Fantastic. I am absolutely going to trick shot off of these stone walls and aiming for the eye slits.
And what is your flourish?
Uh, let's see. There's smoke bombs. Oh, the jig is up, so she's gonna take off that dirty coat, use it to
Yes.
swirl some of the smoke around, throw that at him first, and then aim up and have it ricochet off.
That's so fucking cool.
Yes.
The bullet bounces and strikes clean into his eye socket, and you can see that he stops walking. He flinches slightly, and you can see that one
And while
hand
he
goes up to the eye socket.
gone.
Bolting. Now, the group of you, having gone through this now open door, have made your way into a room that you absolutely have not seen before. Remember, Justine's map said that the room you're in was like teleported to the basement, and as such, you have found yourself in a basement room. There are a bunch of wine kegs in here, and one or two well-dressed zombies that are sloppy drunk on the ground. There are
Yes.
also a couple of beggars in here as well,
Classy.
and two exits, one to your left and one straight ahead.
Is the wine
Uh,
The
any
door
good?
is open, so he's going to know that this is where we came in at.
and bashed. Now,
Yeah,
I should note, by the
fully
way,
bashed in.
Goose is not paying heed to any of the shit going on in here and is sprinting clean across the room to the far entry, like the straight ahead exit. Doesn't provide any reason as to why, and Rusty is happily going along next to her, yapping loudly. Actions from you guys. We'll start with Justine
God, I
because
need a
she's closest.
lasso.
Right. Um. Yeah, I'm just gonna follow Goose.
And
That's right
as you
now.
are, as
Goose
you are
has a
making-
little mini bulldozer to get through doors. So we have a key. But I am
and
gonna Goose, darling, can you command Rusty to please be quiet? And we don't
and
need to keep attracting attention. We've already got Stellans. You do recall him from the brief, don't you?
she is currently on the door, holding it by the handle, and is straining with the handle with her feet up next to the door as well. As she's like thudding back and forth in it, she calls over her shoulder, "Like the jig is up! I'm trying to alert Darby as to our location."
Oh, okay. Um, do you need help with that door?
Like, yeah, that would be hugely appreciated.
All right.
Speaking of doors, yes, this is where we went. Yes, there's a big old hole in it. Gonna close it, lock it, and then try to pull some of the wine,
Yep.
like casks, and just put it in front of the door. Anything to slow
Yeah.
this man down even a little bit.
And while Claudette is doing so, Daniel, actions from you in the wine room.
All right. The wine. Is it in bottles?
It's in big casks.
Are there any bottles nearby?
There are.
How quickly could I fill one?
Well, given that one or two of the kegs actually have their taps open right now and are pouring wine onto the floor, not too long.
Fantastic. I want to like blow the dust out of a bottle and fill it up very quickly.
It ploofs up into your face in a most uncomfortable manner before you start to get the wine
That's
into
fine.
it. As it starts to fill, it fills quite quickly. Once it is filled, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna sip it a little bit. Is it any good?
It is. I don't even know how to frickin' describe this. You can taste the centuries.
Beyond
when you put it that
vinegar?
way. Like this is like how to describe it. This is vinegar's estranged cousin at this point.
Yeah.
So following the science of fermentation, this is essentially become ethanol.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you making cocktails?
I'm making something.
All right. Well, Justine has a
Gonna-
lighter.
Yeah, he's gonna.
Also, I did just shove a giant just row of them in front of this door.
Before we go further with Daniel, Justine over by the door with Goose. Goose cannot get the damn door open. Rusty is helpfully yapping underneath her, looking very pleased with himself.
All right. Is this
All
a
right.
situation where the scimitar might be able to help? Sticking it
Well,
like in
check
the
to see
door
if,
jam.
if it's a push or a pull first before you start.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a push door.
And she's been pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's try pushing first.
Door swings open with her on the handle.
Punk rock.
And as you do so, she's like, that was a pretty good idea, and drops off of the door handle. And sprints into the room, and then sprints directly back and hides behind you because the room is pitch fucking black.
Cool. Headlamp back on.
And as you turn on the headlamp, you are greeted by an especially ghoulish sight. You can see, imagine like a Macy's, right? With like rows and rows of clothing racks everywhere. But inside of every piece of clothing is a trussed up zombie hanging there, groaning.
Ooh.
Mm. They hold out their hands to you, asking.
Oh no, not more misfortunate.
An entire room of them. Goose is quaking so hard behind you, you hear her teeth chattering, and her big floppy candle-made hat is partially on your head.
Are her knees like?
Yes, precisely.
Goose, I really, really need you to instruct Rusty to find Derbyshire, not for us to run around trying to alert. We need to get out of here.
You hear her breath coming quickly before she says, easier said than done. She says, we've been trying, gal, I promise, but like we got nothing to go off of.
You don't have anything? Not a scrap of paper? Nothing that Derby has touched?
And
Did you
she
not
says,
spend any time with him?
of course we spend time together. We're pretty decent friends outside of work as well, but like he really is careful about his outfits.
I don't understand your training methods.
And she says, if I could get like a piece of his clothes or something, I could definitely get Rusty on it, but it's not like I carry around a lock of his hair to remember him by, you know?
Well, maybe you should.
Basically,
I
his friend
apologize.
finding
I'm
one of-
quite frustrated. I don't believe we need to go through this room. But now we've locked ourselves into this path.
She says, I don't want to go through this room either, and if we're talking about locks of hair, maybe we can start with yours,
Well, darling, you aren't searching for me. I don't get lost.
Now I didn't think I was going to be searching for Derbyshire either.
All right,
You
I
also
flash
looked
my
up
light a
before.
little deeper in and see if there's anything moving.
Now, besides the gentle drifting of the zombies, which is absolutely not pleasant and doesn't make looking easier because they cast eerie shadows beyond your headlamp, you can see that there is no, at least from like looking from this entrance, it's a pretty big room, there is no visible exit within this room.
All right, pulling out the map.
And pulling out the map, you can see that the wine room, there's the way you came from, there's this one, and then there's a way to go to the left. From the left of the wine room, it looks as though there's a long hallway with some irrelevant stuff off to the sides, and then a staircase that leads up to the ground floor. Through this room, however, it does seem, even on your map, to be a dead end. Secret passages notwithstanding.
Yeah, let's because we're trapped. We can't go back out through the wine room. Stellan's coming up the staircase, and he's going to catch us on the landing. So we won't be able to get to the other room to get to the other staircase to get up to the ground floor.
Well, the wine room does have another exit out of it. That was the one I was referring to. So you would be able to get through that if it wasn't locked.
Well, let's go back to that door, the locked one, and see if Goose can do their trick. If there is a keyhole, should have a keyhole if it's locked.
It does have a keyhole. And as Justine enters back in, obviously both Claudette and Danyel have been up to shit during this time. We'll begin with Danyel. You can see that Justine and Goose have come back out of the door they went through, which is pitch black beyond. Rusty is in high spirits. Goose is terrified and cowering behind Justine. What would Danyel like to do?
He's gonna look at the like ethanol in his hand, and he's gonna look at the door that's locked.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a judgment that Goose is probably not in the best dexterous state at the moment. And he's probably going to set the door on, or try to, like, soak the hinges and handle of the door in this ethanol to, like, eventually light it. No, he's going to, like, take a swig and, like, spit it.
Now,
like,
Justine would see Danyel prepping the door as she is approaching.
Do you need help with that, darling? We are not going the way that we just came from. It is filled to the brim with hanging undead.
Yes, I saw the room was full of undead. That's why this separate door that we haven't been able to get through, I'm hoping is an exit. I am no good at picking locks, and Goose does not seem to be in the correct mental state to pick a lock.
She says, cooldowns are a bitch, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You want a bitch cool down? You want a cool down? Justine, I need your lighter. Do you want to see cool down?
Yep, Justine will pass it on over, because are you getting the locked door or the door that we came through that has the hole in it?
The locked door. The door that you came through, you can see that Claudette has done quite an excellent job of blocking with all manner of kegs and casks and shit.
All right. I mean, I could try my scimitar first before we set ourselves on fire by accident.
That's happening anyway. The second homeboy comes up to that door, I'm blowing everything. Just so you're aware.
I wanted us to have a way to get away from the fire.
Now, Justine, as you're sizing up the door, your scimitar, it's a thick frickin' door. It's old, though, and it's in severe disrepair. If it was not in disrepair, 0% chance that your scimitar would be getting through it. And even as is, the wood is very, very thick. You'd probably have to aim elsewhere.
Well, I was thinking more of like the old butter knife trick. I don't know if you ever popped open your parents' bedroom with a butter knife. So I'm thinking if it's old, they didn't have, high-tech locks.
Yep. Do you want to get the point of the scimitar in there?
Yep. Just point into the little latch hole and pop the little door dick out.
And as you do so, you hear a clatter on the other side as the key is pushed out. Clink.
Ah,
And then
fuck me.
a moment later, you are lucky you have high luck. You hear a click from the door.
Say that
Hey.
might be to spark metal on metal.
Again, she can thank having high luck. That doesn't happen.
Or it's getting open one way or another.
Now, before we go further with that, however, Claudette, you have bolstered this door as much as possible, but you hear his footsteps. They're on the landing outside and are approaching the door.
Are we going through the other door? Are we leaving?
It looks like people are starting to head through the other door.
Mhm.
Goose does not head the group this time, instead staying safely behind Justine.
Great. As soon as everybody is out, I'm blowing the door. Like I'm going to get towards our exit. I'm going to shoot the kegs and I'm getting out of there. I'm going to try to shut the other door behind me as I go.
Yep.
So we don't get caught in a backdraft.
And you fire, and as you shut the door, you hear a roar. And the roar is loud enough that almost immediately, like your hands would almost involuntarily jump to your ears. And then there's a rush and a crack, and the door is blown off its hinges, launching the group of you down the hallway beyond. You're thrown maybe 6 feet forwards and onto the ground.
Worth it.
There's a
Very
roaring
much. Sorry,
fire
y'all.
in the wine room.
Did you get him at least?
I sure hope so.
Oh, and he's gonna like pop his shoulder back into the joint with like a wet. He just. Oh.
And
Oh.
Goose,
Justine will get up and just stairs.
Goose, who has gotten to her feet faster than anyone else, looks back over towards Claudette and the fire and says, with less fear in her voice than usual, like, wow, that's Toby. How'd you do that?
Science plus a lot of training and a little bit of luck. Let's go.
And as you guys make your way down the hallway, there's some inconsequential doors, as Justine noted from her map. There's a couple of misfortunate, but not all that many. And then a door beyond that is thankfully unlocked, and then a staircase. It's a broad staircase that is not spiraling. It kind of hooks and then goes straight up, but it is also crawling with misfortunate. And more notably than that, the area of like the landing that you enter into not only has a good number of misfortunate about, but also has a couple of undead porters or butlers, two of whom are bringing a dish upstairs and another whom is carrying a suitcase downstairs. And on top of all of that, at the top of the stairs, you can see the brim of the hatch just from the banister. There is a candle made at the top.
We're going down. Wait, are we still in the basement level?
You are in the
we're
basement
awfully-
level.
We're in the basement.
No, we
gotta
have
go
to
up.
go up.
Yeah.
We have no choice.
All right. Well, that being said, I guess I'll go in front so I can just take her out.
Now, I should note that Rusty is not barking for once, but he starts to like vibrate in place and looks like he really wants to bark.
Did you find him? Did you find him? Where is Darby? Where is your friend Darby, dear?
And he bolts forward. He zooms up the staircase and to the porter carrying the suitcase, and he starts to lick at his pant leg.
I would like to chase after him and use my scanner on the porter.
And as you do so, a handsome face with red hair and a goatee is revealed to you. He gives you a wink and says, "How you doing?"
I'm doing all right. Are you okay?
He says, "Do I look okay?" And he looks around at his undead visage.
No, you don't. One could say you look half dead.
He says, "Temporary, I assure you." You can see that he goes down the staircase and casually pushes the two porters carrying the covered dinner dish over the side of the staircase where they fall into the misfortunate below.
Oh dear. Is stealth not an important factor?
He says, They don't notice. I've been checking for about an hour to see what they react to and what they don't.
Well, what about her?
He says, she won't be a problem. Already dealt with that. And his disguise drops. He's wearing an impeccable, brilliantly purple suit and a green scarf.
Now hold on.
Well then, darling. Nearest
Now I feel-
exit.
He says, directly upstairs, but unfortunately it is crawling with activity. I don't know what you all did, but everyone is looking at the moment.
Oh, I blew up the real one. He's probably coming incredibly pissed.
Oh, that's bad. That's
Yeah, we gotta go.
He looks over towards Goose with like kind of a scolding look, and he says, "Did you do anything stupid?" And Goose says, "Like, I don't know, man. I can't tell what's stupid or not anymore." And he says, "We'll talk about it later." He turns towards the staircase and says, "Easiest way up. Let me go ahead just for a moment." And you can see that he resumes his porter disguise, though he moves much quicker.
All right.
Follow the man who clearly knows what he's doing.
And as he goes up, he circles out of sight, and then you can see a candle-made hat float down towards the bottom of the stairs where you guys are.
Great. Oh, let's go.
This man is terrifying.
As you approach the top of the staircase, you can see that he is waiting, and you can see that the top of the staircase is a relatively tight room once again. There's a couple of pieces of furniture in here, only one major door out, no paintings, thankfully, and it is also rather dimly lit. He says, "All right, to give you a bit of briefing, beyond this room, we're going to be finding a powder room. Beyond that, there's a lounge, and beyond that, the atrium front door. Safety at last."
All right.
He says,
Fantastic.
"We could either let me go ahead with my disguise, might hold up something, I might be able to do something about a few of the people there." You see that he produces a long, like a ballpoint pen, pulls off the cap, and reveals a blade that is much longer than the cap should have concealed before putting it back on, then tucking it back into his suit pocket. Or we can not do that. Preferences?
Seems like there isn't a second option within that not to do that.
He says, "The other option is go in guns blazing."
Yeah, see, I tried that already when we were retreating. That's why we're in trouble now, because that
Yeah.
was the only other option. I don't like having not good options.
As you do so, Goose says, as she squeaks, and you hear a clanking of metal boots from down the hallway you came to this room down from down below.
Subterfuge it is. Let's go.
Yep, time to go.
And
That
he
is my
resumes,
specialty.
he resumes his disguise, pushes open the door, and as he does so, says, "Just act normal. If they ask you for an invitation, you won't be able to do much about it, but if not, you can usually just kind of go about."
Right.
And as you push out the room, you enter into a large bathroom of some kind. You can see that there are a couple of lady zombies clumsily doing their makeup, attended by a couple of porters carrying their makeup.
As we're making our way through, I adjust the flower in one of their hairs that sits a little bit better since it was falling out.
The hand comes up and checks the flower and looks at it in the mirror, though the mirror is so dusty there's a 0% chance that she can actually see it. And from there, pushing out, you find yourself in a lounge. The lounge is a larger room, similar to the parlor you were in earlier, but a little more sumptuous and more populated, and I do mean substantially more. In this room, not only are all of the windows turned to stone, like in the stairwell when all the trouble started, but you can also see that the doors are, there's 3 doors out, all of them are locked, all of them have a candlemaid standing at ready, and additionally, not only are there a couple of suited guests in this room, but there are also a pretty substantial number of porters, and the porters are armed. Admittedly, they seem to only be armed with golden-topped walking sticks, but they are armed nonetheless. And you can see that they are tromping about, slowly shambling, and like looking under carpets and other completely inconceivable places.
Great.
Actions upon...
I'm just going to assume all 5 of the candles on the candelabras are lit.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna follow Derbyshire, and whatever he does, I am going to back him up.
Derbyshire, the door that you've opened from has a curtain surrounding it, and Derbyshire is just peeking out of the curtain to take in the scene, which is how you guys can all see this without the candlemaids seeing you immediately. You can think of it like one of those old-timey fancy changing screens.
Mm.
So there's a couple of cracks, so you get a couple of angles on the room.
This is the last room we have before the exit.
From here, what the hell did I say? From here, hallway, then atrium.
Okay.
Actions from the group. What would you guys like to do? Derbyshire seems to be just taking in the scene. Goose has a hand over her mouth and a hand over Rusty's mouth.
Derbyshire,
Thank God.
do you know what the senses of these candle maidens are? If I were to put up a smoke screen, would that help us?
He says, in a very low voice, they can see and hear about as well as you and me. I
Well
think
then.
putting up a smoke screen would make them call in the big man.
He's already on our ass, so
They'll get here faster if they call him.
son of a bitch.
He gestures around the room and says, see all the paintings?
Oh.
Well, the painting's flammable.
He says, ooh, good idea. Maybe? Probably?
And Daniel's gonna hold up the bottle he's been carrying the whole time, says, I could throw this in the middle of the room and set it on fire. A lot of panicking undead will... Who knows where they go? They'd set lots of things on fire.
His eyes go up, and he takes a beautifully, monogrammed green lighter from his pocket and flicks it open.
Fantastic. And Daniel's going to take the, front half of his sleeve, his suit sleeve, and tear it off to make, the rag, stick it in the top.
You can see Derbyshire wince.
It's what I have to do. I have plenty more back home. But I have to make sure if we're ready to do this, because I'm not going to throw it until we're ready.
He flicks the lighter. Oh yeah, actions from Claudette.
Claudette is just gonna roll the revolver, check to do any refilling, and all right, let's go.
He clicks the lighter.
Stick. Head for the door, and Daniel makes a dramatic step out and tosses the improvised cocktail into the center of the room.
It hits, catches, and there's a great whoosh of fire as it starts to race its way across the old moldering carpet. It immediately catches on a porter who is checking under that carpet, who immediately does a incredibly slow-mo stop, drop, and roll. Immediate actions. We'll begin with Daniel, since he's the furthest out from the group, having stepped out to throw.
I'm wondering what I can... trying to think of things I have that I can I don't...
Do you need a moment to think?
Yeah.
Sure. Claudette, immediate actions from you. Daniel has just thrown.
Let's see. All the doors are locked. Is that what you said?
From what you can see, all the doors look like they are locked. At the very least, they are not open, and each has a candlemaid in front of them. 3 doors.
Are they still standing there despite the potential undead
Having
chaos?
just thrown, the immediate things that you see them doing is you can see that they all look like taken aback, right? One candlemaid goes over to a painting over the fireplace that's like 8 feet tall. It's absolutely huge.
Mm-hmm.
Another candlemaid, you can see, steps into the room and starts to brandish her candelabra while snapping her fingers. And a third candlemaid gets the fuck out of there and goes out her door.
Headshot the fireplace.
Shoot the one. I am absolutely shooting the one who's getting ready to touch the painting. Don't need that nonsense.
Where do you want to try to hit her?
I mean, I'd love to get a headshot, but at the very least, I want to take her hand off before she touches the painting.
How many shots are you taking?
Uh,
To, like, make sure of it, you know what I mean? Yep.
Yes.
Okay, 2 shots off. You don't see a hand fly off, but you do see her stumble forwards. Not sure how good of a shot it was. Her big hat obscures a lot of the potential damage. Immediate follow-ups before we see what happens further there.
You said somebody else came in swinging her candelabra, trying to gain control again?
Not coming in, but she was from her door. She starts to step further into the room, swinging her candelabra and snapping her fingers.
I'm gonna let the one that bolted off, she can go. She obviously does not want any of this smoke. The other one, I'm also gonna shoot her.
Literally.
Same idea, like same going for a headshot, 2 shots?
Headshot, gut shot. I want this one down.
You can see that your headshot does get her through the cheek. Being undead, it doesn't like cause a horrific bleeder, right? But it does blow out a nasty bit of her face. And you can see that she doesn't seem to respond to that as much as the gut shot, which her hand jumps to, and she actually drops her candelabra.
More fire. Great.
Are you going into the room from here, or are you going to hold by the screen to allow your allies to go ahead of you?
I'm gonna hold, because frankly, Claudette does not remember which door we're supposed to go out of right now. She's just trying to make sure that they have enough time to get everybody out the good door before he shows up.
Now, Justine, since you are at the back of your main squad of 3, you would see, first of all, that Derbyshire, as soon as the action begins, does like a quick sidestep out from the screen and hugs the wall of the room as he starts to quickly make his way around. Goose does the opposite tactic and bolts out through the center of the room with Rusty at her side. Rusty tackles a porter that's obstructing her way, and Goose clears a chair with her long legs as she goes towards the far door indicated by Derbyshire. This gives Claudette a good idea of what door was indicated. Additionally, Justine, actions from you as Derbyshire, Rusty, and Goose begin to make their way out. What would you like to do?
I'm going to draw my scimitar, and the candle maiden that left, or that's like taken off, was she like passing by us?
She was not passing by you, but she was the closest to you of the 3.
Okay. Did she leave through one of the other doors?
Yes.
Or okay. Yeah, as if my following of kind of splitting my trajectory between Derbyshire and Goose. If that'll bring me to intercept the candelabra, I'll have my the candelabra in my left and scimitar in my right.
Absolutely. As you proceed out across the room going towards the fallen candelabra, you are greeted with a porter. Though the undead in this room are quite confused and kind of milling about, this one does seem to identify you as a threat and raises his walking stick, like a baseball bat.
Fine. I'll be raising my scimitar, like a sword, to chop off brittle bony arms.
I'm guessing you're doing a preemptive strike here.
Yep.
You can see that the left arm falls off, meaning that, while still holding onto the walking stick, meaning that the right arm has twice as much weight to try to swing at you. The swing is clumsy and aims roughly towards your head in a downward stroke.
No.
Which variety of no?
The variety where I see it coming and I'll just go ahead and move around it. It's going to be slow and clumsy.
The blow is laughably slow. However, as the now removed left arm falls off of the walking stick and the porter looks back up to you, you can see a purple fire ignite in its eyes.
Oh, sweet. Can I try to decapitate him real quick?
Your scimitar snakes out, and not only does it decapitate it, but it lobs his head across the room in the process. The body
Don't give me those creepy eyes.
The body kind of stands there aimlessly for a second, waving its walking stick about. Justine, are you going to get past this one at this point?
Yeah.
After that, an armchair in the way, and you reach the candelabra. You can see that
Woo!
the purple fire on it is not catching on the rug.
I wouldn't figure.
Picking it up?
It's magic. Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. It's mine now.
As you pick it up, you feel a strange sensation within you. It's like, you know the sound of like a wet finger on glass?
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel that sensation as well as a profound, comfortable chill. You know? And
Chill.
additionally, you feel, I don't know if you've ever been hit by a knowledge's power before, but you feel this similar kind of like absorption of knowledge into your head. In this case, a to-do list and a schedule.
Ew. No.
And promptly ignoring that, let's check back in with Danyel. Your teammates are zooming out around you into the room. What would you like to do?
All right, is my fun fact ready to go?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so my base understanding of fun fact, it is essentially tiny reality retcon the ability.
Roughly, yes.
I want to step towards the fire, point towards the locked doors, and say, fun fact, fire tends to make both wood and delicate metals very brittle. And as I point, I want to have a snake of like an offshoot of the flame wrap around my arm, shoot off of my finger, and like envelop the door in like heat, not necessarily flame, but enough to like maybe make either breaking the door or breaking the lock a little easier.
And arcane stat?
Huh?
What's your arcane stat?
My arcane stat is 1+.
Lovely. I accept the fun fact.
Yay.
The tendril of flame laces across the room, almost lazily. And as it reaches the door and it starts to envelop the lock area, you hear Goose, who is about to reach the door, say, like, that's a great fun fact, dude. And as she says this, Rusty looks over to you and gives a bark. I'm not going to do it because I want to blow out your speakers. But and as you do so, he looks to you and gives another little yip, and then gets up on his his haunches with his paws up like this. And you feel a sudden rush within you, a sudden flow of unexpected energy as the tendril of fire is empowered.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. And I will say, as Daniel does this, his eyes glow like a bright green, and like a weird hazy cloud kind of appears around his head. Nothing like mechanical, just a weirdness.
Absolutely. Claudette, you can see Justine dueling and then taking the candelabra, Goose getting across the room, Rusty looking to Danyel, Danyel sending a lace of fire, Derbyshire creeping in the shadows, and you hear the clanking of boots up the staircase. What would you like to do?
Damn it.
Is the door open? Or is
the
it
door,
just...
The door is not open, but the lock is being enveloped by the tendril of fire that Danyel sent to it.
Is that going to do it on its own, or does it need some help?
In the couple seconds you watch, it does not seem to do it on its own.
Great. If it's just if it needs some help, I'm happy to help it. Cool down for trick shot. Can I do that again? Has there been enough time
Trick shot is up.
between the... Okay, great. Then I am going to trick shot the lock so we can get out of here.
Just like trick
So
shot
with
into the
this
lock
one-
and have it bounce it around inside or something?
Yeah, just to kind of knock the lock open. And
Yeah.
so what I will do is, how much of the room is currently on fire? Is it still just the rug?
It's the rug in the center, quickly spreading, but not so quickly as to be an immediate threat to your own self or any of your teammates as of now.
Cool. Then what I am going to do is I am going to, since I'm the only person still behind it, I'm just going to kick down the screen and sort of, I'm going to knock the screen down and sort of kick it into the fire to kind of shoot it across the room.
Yep.
Almost surfing on it before I jump off and then shoot the lock.
At much closer range, the trick shot neatly enters the lock, and you can hear a brittle crack inside of it. The crack is loud enough that it, is like potent enough that it actually visibly damages the exterior of the lock as well, and Goose follows it up with a long-legged kick, knocking the door open. She immediately dashes out of that door, with Rusty jumping behind her. Justine, you are second close to the door, but Claudette is the next closest after Goose. Is Claudette rushing out after Goose or staying in this room for the moment?
I do not need this woman getting herself killed, but I am going to stay at the door frame so I can see Goose and the rest of the hallway, but I need to make sure everybody else gets out first.
Absolutely.
Because to the best of my knowledge, it's just me and Derbyshire that have like weapons. I'm not positive about the scimitars. It's my first time seeing it, so I'm just like, I don't know where that came from. We're gonna have a conversation about this later. I don't know even if she knows how to use this thing properly as a weapon and not just a prop. Get out.
Now, Goose, you don't have to worry about her too much because she comes sprinting back into the room within less than a second and hides behind you. Before we go further with that, however, Justine, you are next closest to the door as it is knocked open. What would you like to do with candelabra staff in hand?
Anything interesting on my newfound to-do list?
Yes, you can see that the currently scheduled activity is host dinner. You can see that currently scheduled activity is 2 minutes late. You can see that there is a note, is unanticipated visitors have caused a disturbance. And then you can see that also the next to do after that is retire to boudoir.
Oh, cool. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this information. But I wanted to know.
Of course. Anything you want to do with the candle staff? Do you wish to exit this room through the now broken door? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I want to exit. I'm gonna go out the now broken door, leading with my candelabra that I have absconded because it's mine now.
Certainly. Is this at a run or at a stroll?
At a purposeful stroll.
Yeah, I had a feeling. It just got the purposeful stroll vibes off this. Justine is therefore the first to see the hallway beyond in totality. Claudette only caught a piece of it. It's the atrium again. You're back. You are
Nice.
From where you entered. You are at the furthest door on the right. However, it's a ways to the front door. Several things of note, however. First of all, the front door is completely barred by a large amount of undead. You can see at least a dozen porters, glowing purple eyes, 2 candlemaids behind them with their staffs glowing brightly from the candles lit. Second thing, much more notably, a gilded iron portcullis is slowly descending over the front door.
Oh, yeah, we need to get the fuck out.
Because Claudette is reloading.
Yup.
Like,
Before we go
no.
further with these two, Danyel, actions from you. Your tendril of fire has facilitated the door breaking open. You are surrounded by this cloud and this glow that you describe. What would you like to do from here?
He is going to book it to the door. His eyes are still glowing green, and in the cloud, symbols of like green eyes are beginning to form.
Yep.
But he's just booking it to the door.
You
Jumping
reach
over
the
flame.
door's entrance next to Claudette to see the scene beyond. Claudette is finishing reloading her revolver and can also look out on the scene beyond. The front door guarded, 2 candlemaids beyond the 12 or so porters, the portcullis slowly closing. Derbyshire also sticks his head out from around the corner, drawing his penknife. We'll start with Danyel from here. Actions from him upon witnessing this.
Okay, so you said there's 2 candle maidens and like 12 undead, and then the portcullis?
Yep, exactly right. And these undead have their eyes gleaming with purple fire. They are carrying, again, relatively like unthreatening weapons, walking sticks, fireplace pokers, that sort of thing. But they are standing in something resembling a formation.
Shit, all of my abilities are used up.
Ooh, another important note, all those misfortunate in the atrium that you guys noted when you came in are gone. They have been evacuated or cleared out or pushed away in some way.
Crap.
Probably don't want them escaping.
Yeah.
Do you need a moment to think? Because I can check in with Claudette and Justine.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't know what I'm gonna do because all my abilities are used up.
You have catalog up.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead. That's the last thing I can do. I'm gonna step in the middle of the room. The eyes are gonna flare up, and like more eyes are surrounding my body. And in like multiple voices, I will say, "This room is disgusting." And this like pulse of green is gonna activate catalog
And what are you trying to sort with catalog?
to put the undead and the candle maidens back in their proper places.
And you know what? As Daniel activates this, you all see his body tense and his arms kind of fly out to the side. His hair flies around him, and the magic that pulses from him, the green eyes in the air glow brighter. And you can see his face kind of tenses and contorts in like completely unanticipated pain. And a rush of dust plumes down the hallway, and the porters start to be dragged from the door, flying in through nearby doors, like being sucked out by a tornado or an explosive depressurization. The candlemaids plant their staves in the ground and actually hold against it. They are not pulled away. But the wind of the catalog is substantial enough that it is actually buffeting the rest of the group as well. Justine's hair flies out around her, and she feels the candles on her candelabra staff flicker in the wind. Claudette's duster would be like blown up around her as well as the dust obscures hers and the rest's vision. And as this is happening, as this powerful catalog is taking place, Justine, actions from you. You are standing out in the hallway, so you're the most exposed to the catalog. What would you like to do?
I'm on the ground for now.
And as you do so, I should note, when the candles flicker, you actually feel inside of your head this like stab of anger. The candles are almost like your patience being tested and flickering in the
Yeah. Justine
wind.
is feeling that on this mission.
And Daniel, a question. Spirit stat?
Say that again.
What is your spirit stat?
My spirit stat. I 1+.
Excellent. And in that case, as the catalog is taking place, you can see figures dancing before your eyes. Shapes, chess pieces, technicolor, taking each other and building up score across a great black chessboard.
Okay.
Claudette, actions from you. The dust is again greatly obscuring your ability to shoot at the moment, but you still have ability to act. What would you like to do? You're in the doorway, and so the catalog's winds and dust is not hitting you quite as hard.
Um, okay, so we've got catalog going on, which is really kind of cool. We've got the porters have been dismissed, but the candlemaids are still there. How far away is Stellan?
So the wind of the catalog makes it hard to hear, but his clanking boots are still audible in your mind. And because of that, you can tell that he is in the powder room and is about to enter the lounge behind you.
Okay, and Justine is still next to me, yeah?
Justine is just beyond you. She's out in the atrium, and so is getting the catalog winds full blast.
Okay. I need okay. He's coming. And I've really just got like the one thing that I think I might be able to do in order to hold him off long enough to be able to bolt down the room, but I need Justine.
How do you want to signal to her or get her in touch with this idea?
Uh okay. I'm just because I mean I uh hands covering eyes due to the fact that I haven't had an opportunity to replace my sunglasses yet. Um I'm gonna hey darling, I need you to come back in here real quick.
Justine, you can hear her over the wind.
I'll move back.
Stepping back into the room with your hair blown everywhere and a light coating, like a film of dust across all of your skin, what would you like to do?
Yes, darling.
Oh, you still look as beautiful as ever. I'm going to ask a
Aw.
tiny little favor of you, and then I need you to run as soon as I'm done.
Oh,
Justine hears the clanking of the boots now, too. They are so close to entering the lounge.
oh, that's not good.
I know, that's why I'm going to need you to run, but I need you to just wait just 2 more seconds. I need him in the room.
Okay.
The catalog outside subsides. And Danyel, as you feel the ability's power starting to fade, you realize that you had hovered about a foot into the air while you were doing it. And as you touch the ground, you feel your legs giving out from under you.
I actually had a question about that.
Yeah.
I assume that's draining my stamina or my essence.
Essence.
Can I sacrifice stamina to keep the effect, to keep catalog going?
How would you like to do so? Describe it to me. What would this feel like? And what would be the paired action that makes it happen?
He is going to call upon the power that is around him to give up part of his own life force to make it so that the catalog focuses on the remaining handle maidens and to either blow them away entirely, which I doubt that would be possible, or to keep them in place while hopefully signaling to his friends to get past the portcullis.
You said call upon. That feels like it should be requiring something to be said aloud. What would Daniel like to say? If you need a moment to think, that's fine.
Yeah, because I don't know if this would step with, like, I don't know if I can, like, because it would, like, be something to do with the focus words, and I don't know if that's allowed or not.
Well, see if you can ground it in the setting or
In the
in
setting.
Daniel's backstory to some degree. If it
Okay.
slyly
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
references the focus words, that's fine.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Awesome. And Claudette and Justine, you are on the threshold between the lounge and the atrium, so you can see all the way into the lounge. Is that where your eyes are directed at the moment?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to come into the room. Because I need his focus on me.
A boot enters the room. One black sabaton after another. He enters the room with his glorious armor completely untouched by dust, completely unmarred by flame. He enters into the
Great.
room with no weapons drawn and his cape billowing behind him. And he looks towards you. And even through his massive helmet, you can actually catch the faintest glimpse of his steely eyes.
So I'm going to activate standoff, which is why I needed Justine. I am going to grab my friend's face and I'm going to kiss her. So I can activate standoff, and then I am going to shove her out the door. Run! And so he's now trained on me, and that's what I'm gonna pull out my coach gun, but I'm not gonna use it. I am calm, I am steady, and it's the only people that are in the room, at least in my mind, are me and him.
Justine, actions as this happens.
Justine runs as directed. And in the atrium, so I'm running back into the atrium, right?
Mm-hmm.
There would be like planter boxes, benches,
Oh yeah, there's furniture.
pillars, and shit like that, right? Okay,
Precisely.
cool. Cool.
She enters the hallway with the kiss still tingling on her dust-strewn lips, and she sees Daniel in the middle of the atrium floor, on his knees, with his hands still up in the air and green magic still swirling around him. You can see that Goose is just behind him with Rusty at her side, and Derbyshire is nowhere to be seen at the moment.
All right. And Would Justine be able to tell that Danyel is running low on vital essences such as stamina and just essence?
Well, you can see that he is collapsed on the ground, only on his knees. And as his hands are up and his face is almost rapturous, with again gleaming flecks of energy pulsing around him and passing off. His eyes are a miasma of shifting colors, almost like a kaleidoscope were reflected in them.
Okay. Because really, I've got two different ways I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
One is make sure Danielle can get out on his own feet. So I was thinking of using rallying. So I've
Mhm.
never used that one before yet. Or go for something really, really big. And that would be to use. Well, I don't even know if this would work. I doubt it would. But I'm going to throw it out there anyways. Fuck it.
Please.
Use my map and the candelabra because I can feel it has like some kind of magic. I don't fucking know. Whatever. And focus on sending Stellan back to the basement.
Ooh. Goodness gracious. Both good options. I'd say first consider which you want to do first. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Daniel, do you have something for me?
Yes, as he is like, the eyes around him are blinking and shifting, they turn towards him, and in a low, deep voice, he's going to call out, Ceaseless Watcher, turn your gaze upon these two piteous forms, and grant your servant a little more time. And whatever effect takes place is going to take place.
And Justine sees Daniel's body racked. It's almost like there is a storm within him. His body pulses with color, but the wind of the catalog redoubles. And the candlemaids, bracing against the far door, with the portcullis now almost halfway shut by them, have their candles snuffed. And you can see that as the candles snuff, both of them collapse, corpses on the ground.
Oh shit. I wasn't expecting to kill him.
Daniel
job.
is now, as he does this, Daniel falls face forward, hits the ground hard, and is convulsing in a seizure.
Oh yeah. He's also
Right.
like definitely bleeding from his eyes.
Now, Goose has rushed over and has scooped him up. Her tall figure is easily enough to throw him over her shoulder. And as she does so, Rusty leaps up onto her other shoulder, an impressive jump for his size of dog, and begins to lick Daniel's hand.
Aw, that's so sweet.
Need the approval of the dog, nothing else matters.
Well, it looks like that's in hand. So Justine's gonna wait until she hears the gunshot to finish her I'm sending you away focus.
Mhm.
She's going to call it a spell in her head. So the way I'm seeing this is Justine's kind of crouched behind like a bench. She's got the map open.
Yeah.
She's got one eye towards Claudette and Stellan and one eye down on the map looking at the basement. Not just the basement, but the meat hook room in the basement.
Yeah.
And she's just like gripping the staff and focusing like, I send you away, I send you away, I send you away. And as when she hears that gunshot, she's just going to slam the staff down on the map, hoping that that does something because she doesn't do fucking magic. She doesn't know what this is. She's just watched other people do weird shit. So she just wants to try because you never know until you go to salsa class and take a few steps.
And Claudette, with your gun out, Lieber stops. His visor raises, and you see his cold face looking out towards you. He says calmly, "I advise you do not stand in my way, interloper."
I have no intention of it. And there's a chandelier in this room, right?
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I'm shooting the chandelier with my coach gun, and I'm bolting.
And as you do so, and turn to bolt, the door leads to a room that wasn't there before. You rush into a room, not the atrium, but one
A
that is
son of a bitch.
pitch black. You hear the clanking of his boots, and you feel a tingle on your lips. You are a lucky, lucky bastard that you kissed Justine. Justine's staff clacks into the ground, and Claudette appears at her side. Claudette's heart is going a million miles an hour, and her hands are trembling.
Okay. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do what I need to besides run, so we gotta go right now, right now, right now.
And there's an explosion.
Winning.
The door is blasted open, and Derbyshire steps out from the coat closet, dusting himself off.
Son of a bitch.
And Goose books it. With Rusty on one shoulder and Danyel on another, she sprints forward at massive speed and bolts underneath the shutting portcullis. Derbyshire calls out, "Ladies, doors closing. All aboard?"
Yep. Running.
Oh yeah.
I'm keeping this staff. It's mine.
He gives you a bow as you pass by. You both have to stoop to get underneath the shutting portcullis.
Fine by me.
And as you do so, you see him do kind of an overly elegant limbo move to get out before blowing a kiss to the shutting portcullis and saying, "Goodbye, Contessa. It was a pleasure."
Antagonizer.
You seem real smug. Did you manage to get that diary?
No. No. He says, "We all deal with stress in different ways, don't we?"
We do indeed. I'm going to drink about this tonight.
He says, "Ooh, can I join you?"
Of course. Party
Lovely.
at HQ.
He says, "I know an incredible bar. You wouldn't believe it."
Oh. I might have performed there in my earlier years.
Well, if not, you can perform here now. And you feel your badges ping.
I just say, we are going home, and I just slap mine.
Get out!
And Danyel, only barely conscious, you register Goose's voice in your ear. "We're out. We're safe. Like, I can't believe we're alive. You did so well."
He just
Flap.
drops his arm again
But-
on his badge.
Goose is talking to Rusty, not you.
She's absolutely talking to Rusty.
And on that note, we will end the mission.
Damn, time number 2, Daniel is barely conscious when he
No.
Well, I was going to try rallying you, but then Goose scooped you, so I was like, hey,
Yeah.
there goes my
You'd rather-
decision.
I figured
Girl's
you'd
got a
rather
vigor
kiss
stat.
Justine more than drag his skinny ass out of there.
Yep. Okay. Before anything else, do you guys have questions about calls I made or elements of the plot or anything before I get to breakdown?
The signatures on the wrists, since they didn't have anything to do with the spell of the necromancy. Was that just her branding them? What was up with the signature on their
Yep,
wrists?
Yeah,
that was her
that
branding
was-
them, and it was her forbidding them from leaving.
Mm.
And you guys didn't get to go into it more, but you didn't get to see what the furniture here was made of.
Oh my God, is
Mm.
it made of human skin?
It's made of them.
Oh, Oh, so I probably burned a lot of them alive with that
Well,
fireball, didn't
burned alive, yeah. But
I?
the
I
she
mean, to
does
be
not
fair, I did as well.
she does not take kindly to being crossed. And
Apparently.
that was absolutely the fate of Goose and Derbyshire, assuming Derbyshire could have been caught.
Yeah, him's a sneaky fuck. I
Yeah.
like it.
Other
So-
questions about calls or the plot?
Could we have found the diary, and would
Yes.
that have helped us at all?
It would have gotten you massive Enclave points. Like, they would have been, oh, yes! 2 missions in 1. In this version of Enclave, nothing mechanical would have come of it, but in the next version, Aspirant Edition, you actually get better loot for doing better on missions. And so, in that rule context, actually big payoff. But insanely risky. You saw how hard that place was to navigate.
Yeah. Was that
Even
gonna be
with
on,
the
the
magic
top
map.
floor?
Yeah, it would have taken Justine doing god tier fork in the road plus mapping and probably a couple of fun facts on top of that to get through. I was also thinking there was a possible world where Justine managed to familiar face a candle maid, but god, that would have been fucking hard.
Yeah, I almost thought about pulling that one
Yeah.
out, and I was like, it just doesn't thematically really fit.
It's
How
real
would
tough.
that have ever happened?
It would
Like,
have to been someone she knew who wandered into the convent and became a zombie, right? Like
yeah.
and the candle maids were more sentient, so you could have gotten more out of it. I was actually the way I designed this was familiar face was actually super doable on the misfortunate, super doable, because totally she could have met someone who crossed the Contessa and ended up here.
Yeah,
Also,
but they
the
weren't
name
going to be
Misfortunate,
useful.
that was pretty hard.
Exactly. There were ways that they probably could have helped, but it was definitely not obvious or easy.
Kudos for the cadaver dog fraud.
Thank you. I'm pretty fucking proud of how I did that one.
Got us into Scooby Land.
Well,
Totally love it.
There was way more than that got you to Scooby Land. I'll give you my breakdown of the focus words, right? When you said cadaver, canine, fraud, that was the really hard focus word, because the as soon as I heard chocolate fondue murder mystery club wants to know what you're reading, I was like, oh, I have these NPC Enclave warriors that I made as a joke reference to Scooby Doo once, and I was like, I'm gonna bring them back and have them having been tried to steal a book, right? Because that kind of covers that, right? But the cadaver canine fraud was way harder, and once I kind of got the piece in with that, I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And then Ceaseless Watcher was Lieber, and his ability to have eyes everywhere and be able to go frickin' everywhere. And shut down pretty much any part of the building he wanted.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was good.
The Ebony Convent is a setting I have used several times in the past. And I had one group who had a mission in it that was like kind of as terrifying as yours, where it was just like constant action, and another group who actually spent the first time just like socializing with zombies. And then Lieber almost killed them. So it was like, that's kind of the pacing of Ebony Convent. You sneak around or you socialize with zombies, and then Lieber shows up and everything goes to shit. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to do more socializing with the zombies, but it didn't. It didn't feel thematically appropriate.
Yeah, I
We
wanted to.
we were on the clock. We had to rush. We gotta get these people out.
Yeah,
It's an extraction mission. This is not one where subterfuge and my normal skill set's gonna come in handy.
would have.
This is
It would
more.
have required a very different playthrough, though.
Oh yeah. That it would have been even more challenging than the way I played Justine today. So I
Indeed.
was really trying to lean into some of the things that I haven't really used. And
Yes, which was awesome to see. I guess this is a good a launching point as any into my reviews. My goal for a little while has been to see new sides of Justine, and I think I finally did. I wanted to give her a mission where she had to get really creative with her socialization. I wanted to give her a mission that made her have to be stealthy and use her vitality at different points in a more strategic manner. I wanted to give her a mission that unnerved her. And also, when I came up with the teammates, I was like, okay, if she finds Derbyshire first, I think they'll get along. If she finds Goose first, I have no idea what's going to happen. And Goose annoying the shit out of you was perfect. Like,
Instant exasperation.
when you guys started to realize it was a Scooby-Doo reference, that was hysterically funny to me. I enjoyed the shit out of that. But yeah, I think that you rose to the occasion marvelously. I loved seeing a different side of Justine. You used your abilities in really different manners. The little magic thing at the end was sick. Of course, facilitated by the Candlemaid staff and your massive luck stat, but bringing out the map and literally just repeating, I forget the line, it was like, go here, go here, go here, go away, something like that. That was like exactly how Justine would cast a spell, right?
Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but when Lieber was trying to capture Claudette, he sent her to the meat hook room because your spell brought him there, right? And so,
yeah.
but because again, Claudette, you lucky duck, you managed to establish an emotional link to Justine. She brought you out, right? And so that was a very tricky call, and if a number of different factors had even been slightly different, dead Claudette, for sure.
Yeah, that would have really
Absolutely.
sucked.
Very sucky.
Yeah, no.
Speaking of which, Claudette, awesome play. Your sensory use is on point. You were a playmaker and really got the group led on and like shepherded around. Your standing up to Lieber was fantastic and extremely cool. Trick shot into the eye socket was a sick idea. Trick shot into the lock was a sick idea. The standoff at the end, this kiss standoff thing is becoming a theme. It's sick, and it's like it's a very good way to sell me on it. I loved the way that you really linked your team together. I felt like Claudette was kind of the heart of the mission on this one, and it was really cool watching you in that leadership position. You know what I mean? It suits her.
Very much they sent me here to get people out, which is why I was just like, I also would have enjoyed being able to like talk with the zombies, but it's like we have to find people in a house that changes. I do not have time to make nice with the undead. I want to help them, but I can't.
I'll tell you, this is one of those missions that if I had had more time, this mission plays completely differently for you guys. Because I have to work on like a 3 to 4 hour time frame for these streams. You give me 6 hours with this mission, totally different. So, because I had to rush you. This is one of those settings that is very fun to let sit. But I thought you played beautifully. Really, really nicely done. Whenever you next level up, I would highly recommend teching into Spirit and Sensory. But
yeah,
do what you want, of course. I just see you using Spirit and Sensory type things a lot. Yeah, awesome play. Loved it. And Danyel. Wow, what a return to form. Your ability use was fantastic. As a librarian, you want to spam the shit out of your abilities.
Yeah.
And you did that. Your fun facts were great and crisp. They didn't try to be like too bombastic, right? Your knowledge as powers were on like exactly what was needed. You picked up how useful catalog was in this setting when you realized that you could move zombies, because zombies here are considered objects, except for the Candlemaids, who are more sentient, right? Your huge energy work cast at the end was absolutely sick and chunked your essence into the red. And so
that was some chef's kiss shit right there.
Yeah, that was incredibly cool. I thought
the masculine urge for a last stand.
the way that Daniel's personality came on this one was incredibly fun too. Between him like getting into zombie acting and him getting obsessed with certain books, and him like his like little funny one-liner exchanges with the ladies and then with the extraction targets when you eventually pick them up, he was just very pleasant and was kind of like a tonal contrast, because the two women were like very skeeved the fuck out by this area, but he like was perfectly able to work within it, which was kind of my goal. I wanted him to have a slightly comfier experience. Yeah, I think you played beautifully. Incredibly well done. Your ability use is really, really tight. The energy work at the end was sick. Case in point. Do you guys, first of all, have thoughts on each other's characters, as well as other questions for me or for each other based on what you saw.
Hmm.
Generally speaking, since this is the second time I have played with one, I absolutely love the librarian class, and I love how both players have used the librarian class. Like, Danyel is so entertaining, and
Yes.
it was nice to have somebody who was just like, I don't know why you're so upset about everything that's happening. This is kind of cool, while I am insane panic. And he's just like, this everything's gonna be fine. We're just gonna have this cool session, and look, there's books everywhere. How could you not love this? There's so much history and things to learn. And I'm like, this,
Yeah.
we have to leave.
Oh, did we have a mission name?
I was gonna come up with that at the very end, but if you guys have ideas, please do throw them out.
Either Exasperation Extraction or Ebony Extraction.
Those are both pretty good. My inclination is to
uh,
combine them into Ebony Exasperation, but maybe not quite appropriate.
Yeah, yeah, because Kat said that Justine was exasperated with meeting Goose, and I was like, I like that Exasperation Extraction.
That's a great start. Let's think about it a little and circle back to it because I like the idea.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely enjoyed Daniel a lot. And then seeing a different side of Justine was great. Like, having her wield her weapon as a weapon and not just a prop was great. Having
That
her
was so
not be
cool.
able to fall back on her entertainment skills because we just did not have the time. There's no way you could distract the zombies with a dance. We have to move. And it was really nice to see, like, oh, okay, what else can my friend do? This is
Indeed.
great. Also, I appreciate you allowing me to use you to in our standoff, because there were no other options. You were the only person here that I knew who I could trust in order to get me to where I needed to be to get everyone else safe.
Yeah, get you to where you need to be is the exact way you summarize that. Because in Enclave, a lot of times you as a player will be like, oh, I have this sick idea. I need to make sure I get my character to where it makes sense. Right? And you pulled that off fantastically, Garnet. I loved that. I guess to proceed down the line, James, do you have any thoughts about not only others' characters but also Danyel now that you've played him for a second session in such a different context?
I will say, at least for Enclave, Daniel's probably going to take a little bit of a darker turn. He's going to keep his entertainment, but like something's changed in him today, and it's
Yeah,
going to stick with him.
I could tell.
As for the chemistry of the other two, I love your guys' chemistry. I cannot wait to see where further stories of you two go. And I'm sure that others in the multiverse will most definitely be talking about the two of you.
Seriously.
Really,
And Kat,
We're
any
a
thoughts
pair
from
cut a
you?
cup.
Yeah.
Oh, it's always a pleasure for Justine to interact with Claudette. And for me, as human in human world, playing with Garnet and you, Robby, it was
Thanks, Kat.
awesome meeting Fitzy for the first time over the interwebs. Fitzy! Yay! And we got baby breaks. That was
It was
awesome.
great.
Babies and kitties. Like, Donut is being an internet superstar was even like, yo, here's my close up.
Here.
Now this is probably now my favorite game to play.
Oh,
And
we love it. Thank you, Kat.
of course. Yeah, and just I do love where Claudette and Justine's relationship is going. They're bonding, I feel, becoming closer friends, might even be besties by like the end of the next third mission or something. Like meeting outside of work for tapas and drinks and gossiping about stuff, and then maybe a pillow fight back at the apartment. Who knows? You know, that was a nice kiss. So Justine will bat for any team that'll have her.
Daniel will be reading lots and lots of books.
Indeed.
Yes.
Well, either
Uh,
way, it really was awesome seeing Justine in such different circumstances. I love that you
mhm.
are able to bring the character to depths, right? Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing the good time Justine. That's awesome, right? But seeing other Justines is also super fun.
Yeah, when I thought that I had accidentally killed Claudette's character or killed Claudette. Um yeah, Justine was not going to handle that well at all.
Indeed.
At all. Like that would have been bad news bears all the way around. I don't know if that came across the camera
Oh,
on my
it did.
face, but
I
I
saw
was
it.
like,
It was
that's it.
lovely.
Okay, kamikaze time. I'm going to go save my friend. I don't care. I'm not leaving. Sorry.
Yeah. That's the thing with Enclave. People survive a lot in Enclave until they don't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the game just brings that sort of shit out in people. And I must ask, because these characters have some amount of history in the game beyond. I gotta know what you guys thought of Goose and Darbinger. Because you're not the first ones to see them.
Oh my God.
Okay. Me, Garnet, huge Scooby Doo fan. Like if I, when you get those like, hey, what could you, have do a 40-minute presentation on with no prep? For me, it is 100% Scooby Doo all the time. So fully you having Goose basically be Shaggy, I caught on that immediately. It was just like, this is gonna be great for me as a person. For Claudette, she dropped Goose. So just like, I do not have time for this nonsense. I need you to put on your big girl pants. We gotta go.
I couldn't justify Rusty being properly Scooby for the record, because then they'd be kicked out of the Enclave in 2 missions, right? Like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
Rusty had to be the more competent half, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm
I
still
appreciated
headcanoning
that.
Rusty is the agent and Goose is
Yes,
just
fully.
right along.
Yeah. Yeah.
His little
Yeah,
collar's
no,
got the
they were
Enclave badge.
they were definitely good. I got the Scooby vibe, which made me happy. One of my nephews, when he was a little, we would have Scooby Doo marathons that would last for like 2 weeks because we'd
Wow.
watch the ones from the 70s, the ones from the 80s, the 90s, the aughts, What's New Scooby Doo, all the Scooby Doo movies, including the ones from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Like, it was nonstop Scooby Doo. Dooby Doo, actually, not Scooby, Dooby, Dooby Doo. So that gave me a little glow in my heart, but I am very, very happy that Derbyshire was more competent than Goose. That was nice. Having yeah, because he could have been
Even though he
Scrappy
kept
Doo.
disappearing. He
Yeah.
literally just, it's like he was there and then he wasn't. It's like, what do you mean he bursts out of a closet? What were you doing in there?
Getting changed.
Precisely, yeah. Because they are Enclave warriors, they get to have Enclave warrior level power, right? And so I was saying to myself way back when I first came up with the characters, because it was like an on the spot goofy thing. I had a group who I made like a mission for that was super elaborate. I took like half an hour to prep, which for me is incredibly long. And then the group turned down the mission for really appropriate in character reasons. And so I was like, shit, I got to come up with a new mission. And in 2 minutes, I came up with this like goofy Scooby Doo pastiche, and they fucking loved it. And so I was like, well, what classes would these characters be? Would these characters be these like gender swapped Scooby Doo characters? And for Daphne Derbyshire, I was like, he's an infiltrator for sure. And so he gets to be the hyper stealthy one, because like I didn't as a Scooby Doo like I'm nowhere near a fan, right? I'm a layman in terms of Scooby Doo. Daphne doesn't leave a huge impression, and so I was like, wow, you gotta be good at something. How about stealth? That seems appropriate. Let's do that, right? And that's what stuck.
Yeah. Daphne is pretty stealthy, and she's really good at disguises.
Perfect.
So I think
Okay,
you did
awesome.
really good with
Yeah, no,
Darby.
that is exactly what works.
Lovely. I'm so glad. That was completely
Yeah.
unintentional. Do you guys have any other questions about plot or calls or anything of that nature?
No,
No?
I know for
think-
sure. I'm glad we did not run into the Contessa. I would like to stay as far away from her as possible.
Good. Yeah, I have
So,
never had a
yeah.
group. I have never had a group once face the Contessa.
Are we sure she actually exists?
That has not yet been confirmed.
Because like my first thought was like, because I, reading the different consumables, I was like, that's why I asked you her full name. I was like, I wonder if I could take some of those namester bullets and just take her out. And then it was like, she's super high level in magic. And I'm like, this is never going to work. Never mind. That'll end all of our problems. No. But this was so much fun.
Awesome.
Petrified the entire game. Was actually terrified the whole game.
Horror missions are one of my specialties, and I have not been able to run as many on DDG as I would like, which is funny because in real life I absolutely loathe the horror genre, but in Enclave, I love it.
Yeah, the horror genre.
I
is
am the
really
exact
full of
opposite.
schlock.
Love horror, as a genre. Not necessarily love playing it because heart palpitations. I tend to stay away from like horror video games because I'm just like, nope, I'm just running away from everything. Room full of eyeballs? No, thank you. I'm good.
Perfect.
We should
and
absolutely
nope the fuck
nail an
out.
isolation mission.
name. Do we? I think that exasperation extraction is a great starting point. Anyone else have any other thoughts, or do we want to commit to that?
I like it.
I do too.
Make it
I
so. You
haven't
can
quite
put it
done-
down in your mission
Yeah.
logs as exasperation extraction. And with that, I think it's time to say goodbye. To all those who have been watching, thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you have enjoyed this rather hectic mission and enjoyed the fantastic play of our players. And if you all wouldn't mind, in roughly the same order that you signed on in, which I think was Garnet, Kat, and James, say your goodbyes and we'll sign off.
This has been so much fun, as always. Definitely becoming a new favorite of mine. I absolutely love being here. So I just want to thank Robby for having me and Dice Dragon Guild for doing this for us. To my lovely, lovely partners in this mission, thank you for a wonderful end to my Monday.
Yes. This is Cheese Cat signing off for the evening. Want to thank everyone who's tuned in to listen or watch or rewatch us on the YouTubes. Don't forget, you can follow the Dice Dragons Guild on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, as well as TikTok. Sometimes we put out some really cool videos.
Well, dang, I guess everybody else covered everything, but this is the Fitz built household and Donut signing off, saying goodbye, being an asshole again. Thank you guys for another great session.
Wonderful. I am so glad to play with you all. Garnet, I'm so glad that this game is becoming one that you're loving. Kat, you likewise. James, a pleasure. I cannot wait to see what else you guys all do in the game. You are always welcome in my groups. And until we meet again, my name is Robby Howell, and ciao for now.